Hello, everyone, and welcome to Adventure on So Many Levels. We're going to play some Dungeons and Dragons.
Yay!
We're on a special night this week because of um, what might be obvious to anyone catching these live, but wouldn't necessarily if you're watching later. It's Christmas week. Tomorrow, our normal night would be Christmas Eve, and decided, yeah, maybe not. But we wanted to get an episode in, so here we are. I'm Christiana Ellis, the Dungeon Master. Our players tonight, Full House, Chute Schubert as Autarky,
Ho, ho, ho.
Starla Hodgson as Nirakina Ethu,
Greetings and salutations.
Jenny Meltzer as Cadence of the Water,
Merry Christmas!
James Meltzer as Cat of the Sands,
Ho, ho, hold the phone. We're going to kill some bees, man.
Mark Kilfoyle as Alaric, or Alaric Copperbeard. Yeah.
Just Alaric will be fine.
Yeah. And last but not least, Vivid Muse as Amethyst.
Hey y'all, happy holidays.
So, what happened last time? Well, one thing that happened since the last episode is that the lovely Starla had commissioned artwork of all of our characters, our main party characters here, which I've tweeted those out, and I did not actually prepare. I could bring them up briefly to show on screen but I think instead I'll just refer people to Twitter where they have already been there. But that was a lovely gift. So thank you for that, Starla. And it was really lovely seeing these new sort of presentations of all of our characters.
Yeah, she did a really good job. They came out so cute. I was a little worried about the puppy. She said she might have trouble with four-legged creatures, but man, she just nailed it. It was
Very
great.
cute.
So adorable. The
Yeah.
puppies were
Great.
perfection.
Because of course our regular character artwork that we have on the screen and use for the tokens is done by Natalie Metzger, and she is great, awesome as well. But it's interesting seeing another artist's take on the characters and showing them in slightly different contexts. It's very cool.
Yeah.
So, as far as the adventure, what happened last time? Well, we decided to catch up. We caught up with what Amethyst had gotten up to while everyone else was at the Fey Queen's Gala. And she was having adventures with this strange horned woman who may or may not be known as Grandmother Praxis, who had mysteriously managed to make her way into the Magnificent Mansion despite not being invited. Or was she? And she proceeded to just rifle through all of the stuff, apparently looking for something. And then when Amethyst tried to communicate with her, managed to give her visions, experiences of some kind, where she was turned into a mouse and told to find cheese. She was turned into a floating seed, asked to choose what soil to land in, turned into a powerful storm. All of these experiences were they lessons, perhaps? Somewhat incoherent, maybe, if so. But regardless, at the end of it, Amethyst found herself back in the mansion, her normal self. This woman claimed that you had been very helpful and departed, dropping onto you a small token, which once you all identified it, you realized that it is a magical item associated with the bee people, the Abiels, that you had been told to seek out as part of this the Honey of the Three Queens quest. So, you used that time to do some discussion about your plans. Nira used the token to scry upon and discovered a vision of this enormous hive on a mountain in a great distance away within the Feywild. And because time and space works differently there, 3 days of travel indicates not the passage of time, but a measure of distance, because the sun's position is fixed at any given location. And you discovered that there's perhaps some sort of a sleep-inducing drone of a magical nature there. But otherwise, you're mostly getting prepared to head out. I think we finished last time with you deciding to embark upon your journey. You were given gifts from your Eladrin friend on your way out, and you set out. Is there anything else that you wanted to establish before we just decide that you're just out walking down the road here in the Feywild?
We're stealthy.
Sneaky.
Yeah.
Doot 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 doot.
And I'm kind of, as we're going, I'm kind of keeping an eye out for, like, bees.
Okay. So, are just like any bees that you might see at all?
Not just any, but, like, you know, if we see, like, little congregations or, like, a lot of bees, or if we see
Okay.
any that are particularly following us for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Suspicious looking
Yes.
bees.
Sure, sure. Because I just think like individual bees would probably be hard to notice unless they were really close, right? But certainly you're being extra aware of any bee related or bee adjacent activity.
Be safe. Be aware.
I do have a locate animals spell also, but it'll probably be more useful as we get closer.
Well,
to
and
where
so
we're trying to get to.
yeah, so one additional note is that I have created the magical item for the token, including the things that it can do, and put it in Amethyst's inventory. Note that to use any of its magical effects, you do have to attune to it. So, would you have attuned to it? Or
We don't
given it
know
to
yet.
anyone else to do that?
We don't know yet if we have permission to use it, right? Crew?
Well-
I think you'll find out pretty quickly.
Right. Then I don't want to
Doesn't
use
matter.
it.
When have we ever needed permission?
So does somebody want to attune to it?
I don't know any slots left.
Yeah, I'm currently maxed.
I'm like max to my.
I hesitate to arm it when I don't know if it's going to cause my doom if I use it yet. We weren't, I mean, I'm correct that we can't confirm that yet until we talk to the queens, right?
Right. I mean, you don't know how this strange horned woman came upon
Yeah.
this token.
Yeah, I say
Clearly
we
left
leave
it for you, but yeah, you don't otherwise know.
Yeah, I say we leave it.
Yeah,
If
they
she
were
thought it
useful
was
in
going-
finding them, but
Yeah.
Well, if she thought it was going to harm us, she wouldn't have given it, I don't think.
I'll take it, but I won't attune to
Yeah,
it.
that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah, like nobody attuned to it. That's what I meant.
Yeah. Okay,
Okay.
so for now, I'll just carry it.
Okay, this hat's hot.
Okay. Yeah. So this thing is like maybe 2 inches across, hexagonal in shape, just a thin little, like a coin.
Cool.
All right.
Like a toonie.
I guess.
Yeah.
I am only I have only audible knowledge of toonies.
Those rare hexagonal tunies. Let me see if I can find.
All right. So how are you? Are you traveling just on foot? Just making your way?
Amethyst, do you want to do the cloud spell, or do we want to just walk for a while and then?
It's entirely up to you guys if you guys want to do Windwalk or the animal spell, or we hadn't decided any of that, so.
well, I mean, I can already fly, but just remember, if you use Windwalk, we can't talk to each other.
Right. Same with animal shapes.
Nira's
We
not
should
fine
really
with that.
Why don't we just walk,
She's
man?
done talking. She
Time-
won't talk to anybody, so she's good.
Time isn't
Yeah.
really a meaningful thing here anyway. It's not like we have to
Yeah,
hurry.
let's just walk.
Mm-hmm.
And like, you know, you have it that if something comes up and we need to like make a quick getaway.
Getaway,
Could always
yeah.
do it, yeah.
Besides, maybe there's something along the way we should take a look at.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't think any of us have spent enough time here to know what this place is like.
Also, we probably won't see any bees before Main of Winds.
You can't talk to them anyway. I mean, I can't talk to them. On
Little
anything,
amethyst then.
right, but not as wind.
Not as wind, yeah.
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 All right.
No, we
I'm
really
Tosh.
should learn like sign language or something, so that way when we are wind, we could make sign language.
I don't think bees speak sign language either, though.
Well, I'm talking about.
They do though. They dance, right?
At least to each
Yeah.
other.
Well, they
Well,
use
true.
scents
yeah,
too,
yeah.
don't they?
Yeah.
I mean, we could
Rub
probably
myself
learn to
with pollen.
dance.
Can
think
you
that's a
wild shape
Christmas
into
song.
a bee?
I can, like I was saying, I can animal shape everybody into a bee or any other animal for 24 hours.
Yeah, but what can I do as a bee?
Fly
Infiltrate their hideout.
instead of walk.
Being one
I
person.
can probably walk faster.
Possibly talk to them. I'm trying to read the spell now.
If it involves dancing, I'm not sure if that's.
Well, we were talking about language, so I'm trying to see if there's a way to talk to them easily for everybody instead of just me. But I mean, I can definitely speak to animals.
You could maybe sing Flight of the Bumblebee.
I'll give it a try.
It's all the buzz this year, right?
Mm-hmm. It's best to be prepared.
Doesn't really say anything about language. Just says the statistics are replaced by that of the chosen beast.
Yeah.
Well,
And the
yeah.
animal shapes doesn't inherently give you the ability to speak to the other animals.
Okay.
Just make sure you have it in your back pocket. We'll be fine.
Right.
So,
Is it too late to do the wind thing? The no talking?
Oh, please. They're at least not as bad as most of the knock knock jokes.
Most of them.
Hey, a couple of them are all right.
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Shut up.
Shut up. Who?
Shut up with your face.
Oh my god.
Maybe that wind thing isn't a bad idea.
I'm just kidding. I'm just getting antsy, man.
so here's a question. How are you deciding which way to go?
We go
Who's leading the
west.
way?
Yeah, we're going
Mira.
west, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
I
Okay.
said go west, but I'm
Alright.
not the stealthy
I
one,
was going
so-
to lead the way because
Yeah.
I like the tracker and I'm like,
Mhm.
you know,
You're the
You're
right
our
one.
personal wayfinder.
Yeah.
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 So
I mean, the sun sets where we want it to, doesn't it, or something like that?
Well, right. Yeah. So you can see in the sky. You can tell which approximate direction west is, but also like west is a lot of stuff. Right? So that's just the question of like who's leading the way? How are you actually trying to navigate?
West End Mountains. That is what
Yeah.
we know.
We're going towards the mountains.
Okay.
Like we're going west and towards the mountains.
There might be people along the way we can ask, too.
Mhm.
Yeah.
There might be rocks you could talk to. They might know.
Hey, they're pretty good at conversationalists, it turns out.
Yeah, but I don't think they travel very much.
No, they tend to stay in their field a lot. This one will travel, and I pull out the small one that's carved. The carved form of Nirkina, as I recall.
Yeah.
I promised.
Really uncomfortable.
Not creepy.
I promised his dad to show him the world.
So, I think what maybe makes sense then is that Cadence is doing the gross navigation in terms of like general things, but Nira, who saw the scrying, is on the lookout for anything that looks familiar and can give course corrections.
That makes
So,
sense.
Yes.
like the driver and then the navigator, so to speak. All right.
Sounds
So Cadence, go ahead and make a survival check.
Come on, my character sheet is not loading very fast.
Oh no.
Survival?
Yeah.
Come on. Internet.
Does guidance work on that? Is that a
Yeah.
can I
I-
move her with guidance too? Then?
Sure.
Okay, so that's what, a D4 with it?
Yeah.
Alright. 22.
Okay. Yeah. So you are making, pretty good time. you certainly realize relatively quickly that there is a road of sorts that does seem to be heading in that direction. Are you traveling on the road, or are you deliberately avoiding the road?
Um,
I think maybe traipsing through nature directly is probably not wise.
yeah, I think we would stay on the road. Mostly just
There's a
because-
road here, which means people travel it, so no one would suspect us of anything.
Not necessarily, but
Are there like their hideout, their where they live is like atop a mountain? Are there mountains in the distance that we can see?
There aren't, but part of the thing that's a little bit difficult here is that the horizon is this sort of striated layer where it mostly right now looks like sunset in the horizon, and you don't see mountains.
Okay.
But just at the base of the horizon, you see where it starts looking darker. And so right now, you don't see any mountains.
Okay. Fair enough.
But so you are making your way, and you are traveling through this very pastoral, like green fields and little copses of trees and beautiful streams and just grasslands, but gorgeous, and passing through in that direction. And as you walk and as you make your way in that direction, there is a little bit of a surreal feeling, because it does seem like it's getting later in the day and the sun is starting to set. But that happening as a response to your forward progress rather than time makes it all feel a little bit uncanny. Because, if you stop and take a break for half an hour, it doesn't keep going. And yet, when you're moving a little faster, it starts going a little faster. The transition happens more quickly, and then vice versa. When you slow down, it slows down. And I think that there's just an intuitive feeling of strangeness as a result.
I will occasionally go up higher to just try to get a bird's eye view.
Sure.
Because I could fly now.
Yeah.
That does not get old.
Hey, yeah. I mean, I think for everyone else, like, it's certainly impressive. I think there is a lot of wind around her when she does it. So every time she kind of takes off or lands near you, you kind of get a gust of wind blowing up around you. And how often Nira does that and how you feel about it is up to you guys. But
I think I would make an effort to not blow a ton of dust in their face. Right.
At least after the first 5 or 6 times.
Appreciate that.
yeah.
Yeah.
So you do see as you rise up that the next sort of geographical transition, so to speak, is that you do look like you're going to be passing into and through a forest. And that will basically happen as it's starting to get dark for you.
All right. So, here's a question for everyone. Do we want to camp inside the forest or at the edge of?
are we camping or are we sleeping in the mansion?
Oh, that's true. I'm still not quite used to having actual accommodations.
I mean,
Let's not get too complacent. We've seen that the mansion can be entered.
yeah, I mean, and besides,
True,
the mansion is like it's like a 7th level spell.
Yeah, I think also as it's as this comes up, Nira, go ahead and make a perception check.
That is a 24.
Yeah, so you definitely spot that just on the outskirts of the forest, where it's still kind of twilight, but just before the forest starts getting thick, you see what looks like a campfire.
Looks like there is company up ahead.
Yeah, don't go there.
Is it safer to be in numbers here, or do we not trust anything?
I don't think we should trust anything. I mean, I've been here before and things get sketchy sometimes.
Well, do you want me to
No,
No? Okay.
no.
Not even a little bit, huh?
No.
No hesitation.
If they want us, if they want to talk to us, they will come to us. But you know, I don't know. I've heard things. I've seen some weird things in this place when I was here before a long time ago.
Well, they're right on the edge, so does that mean we want to go further in before we settle down?
Hmm.
Or just,
How does it look further in? Like just like a cursory look from
So-
where we are.
Well, so right now it looks like it's a thick forest and it's a little bit hard to see because it starts to get dark. So it's a little bit like what can you see in a forest at night. But right now, as you've spotted the campfire, it's like how you can see a campfire from a great distance, right? So right now you can't really see much of whatever would be at the camp. So you would have to get closer to know more details about that. And it's also hard to see much of what's in the forest, but it does look like a relatively thick forest. Old growth.
I personally think that we would be better like closer to the road. But that's just me.
Yeah, I don't know exactly how things work here, but we know that the Queen, our sponsor, I suppose you should say, is one of day, but the other Queen, the one we've had a lot less pleasant dealing with, she's of night. So these bands of space, are they not hers? These dark ones?
Well, it's twilight, so not quite dark.
Is there
And
another Queen?
Well, you have dawn and you have dusk, so
So that's where they fight?
day and one is the end of day. So either way, there's light and dark to both.
That's not helping me any.
Yeah, we're just as exposed. No
Well,
matter
I
what.
mean, in theory, we're heading more towards twilight now. Like, if you were to gauge time, this is more like twilight alarm.
we have
Right.
to go through the
Unless-
cycles no matter what,
Yeah.
right? It's
But
no
I'd
way to
rather
avoid
not
Yeah.
sleep in the darker ones, maybe.
I think Cadence, you realize, and it's sort of a little bit. You recognize that here the difference between dawn and twilight literally is which direction are you going.
Remind me when this is all over to stay in the cave for about 100 years. All of this shifting open space is getting rather frustrating. I thought it was bad enough in the astral plane, but I don't know. This seems weirder somehow.
So, do we want to camp, like, closer to the road then?
That would put us close to the campfire and whoever is there.
Do you want to
Well,
try to get a
like,
better
there's
look
some-
at the campfire, or?
I would.
You can do whatever you want. I'm just,
Yeah, I would too, man.
advise-
I'm gonna go check out the campfire.
Okay.
Goodbye.
Are you approaching stealthily to
Oh, yeah.
spy upon it from a distance? And
Oh, yes.
yeah, okay.
I'll fly up
I-
overhead. That's what
I
I'm
am-
gonna do.
I'm
All right.
going down on all fours, creeping through the ground.
Okay, well.
I'm going to sneak in and make sure he doesn't get himself in trouble.
So the one thing that you're not going to be able to do very easily in the sky, Nira, is be stealthy, because
Right.
anyone who is looking up in the sky is just going to see you because you're right there, right? There's no cover. But I mean, you could be up in the sky high enough that, like, maybe they wouldn't know what you are exactly, but then you're also farther away. So
Didn't we at
That's a
one
trade-off.
point have some kind of spyglass?
you have a magnifying glass.
Well, I thought like when we were on the Githyanki ship we had something.
I don't
No.
recall.
Actually,
we-
that might have been Feathercrest had it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
maybe.
think so.
Yeah.
So in any event, you can decide how you're approaching that. But on the ground, Ket, go ahead and make a stealth check. How close are you trying to get?
I would like to get close enough just to be able to sort of make out to see if there's anybody around the campfire, like what kind of species they might be, and to see if I can hear anything with my cat ears as to what they might be saying.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm moving up to make sure he doesn't get himself in trouble or less trouble.
Okay, so maybe not quite as close, but keeping Ket in line of sight, so to speak.
Yeah,
Okay. So stealth check for Ket then.
26.
Okay. You don't. No one at the camp appears to notice your approach, and what you get is close enough to realize that it's a pretty straightforward camp of the type that you would expect anyone just traveling overland to do. There's a small tent. There's some, packs set off to one side, and then a little campfire, and then sitting around the campfire are three humanoids. One looks like maybe a female half orc. Another is a somewhat androgynous individual in sort of like caster robes, like magic user robes. That they might be human, but it's a little hard to know exactly. And then there is a tiefling man as well, and they are all dressed in relatively like basic. The half orc has leather armor on. The other two are in robes, and they're just sitting around a campfire. They're
Okay.
chatting amongst each other.
Okay. All right, I will sneak back away.
Were you flying up in the air, Starla? Trying to see that from above?
Yeah, but
Or
I want
Nira.
to stay pretty high.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, to try to keep as much wind disturbance, like keep that to a minimum.
Sure. Yeah, so they're just on the outskirts of the forest, so you don't actually have to have the canopy for cover, but you can stay high up enough that it would be hard for them to determine what you are, maybe even if they saw something up in the sky, but you see what appear to be three humanoids sitting around a campfire. I think make a perception check to see if you can tell more.
23.
Okay. Yeah, I think you can maybe get some of the same detail that I just gave to Ket while feeling like you're at a distance where unless someone has as good eyes as you have, they would just see a shape up in the sky.
Okay. Well, the first thing that really pings for me is that there's three of them, and we're dealing with a lot of threes. So just after seeing that, I'm going to go back and regroup with Cadence and Archie and Amethyst.
Ket and Alaric, are you rejoining the group as well to
Oh, yeah.
discuss? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
yeah. As long as Cat hasn't got himself into trouble, that should be fine.
Yeah. No, they didn't appear to notice you, Ket, and they didn't especially look up in the sky or note anything specific there. They're talking amongst themselves. They seem relaxed.
So just chill travelers. Huh?
Was
So-
there any snippets of conversation or language that could be discerned?
Any language?
I think you are pretty sure that it was common, but they're speaking in like low, relaxed voices, and you didn't really get close enough to hear specifics.
That's
But
fine.
from little snippets that you gather, you do think it is common.
Yeah. So yeah, it was common, but there was like nothing of note that they were talking about. No conspiratorial plans they were making or anything like that. They just seem like simple travelers. I don't know where they are or like where they're going, kind of thing. But they don't seem of any note, any consequence.
They might know what's up ahead.
Oh, they might. I don't know. You want me to go ask them?
Depends on which way they're traveling, you know?
Yeah.
You want me to disguise myself?
Do you want to disguise yourself?
I could look like you.
You could look like a moderate.
What good would that do you?
It'd do me great. You not so much, but it would do me well.
It's
I
the
could-
illusion of the axe. This isn't my
maybe
real
I could
shirt.
disguise myself as the emo dude.
Oh, there you
Ah.
go.
Delobrian?
Be like, hey man, nice campfire you got there. Not.
Well, I mean, so we might get information about what's ahead. We might get.
Why don't we light a
slaughtered.
campfire of our own
So
and see if they come to us?
There you go. I'm assuming that while they're gone, like Amethyst and I already were like setting up camp.
How far away are we from them at this point?
Well, you guys tell me. Like, I think you from flying up above, just spotting smoke from a campfire, you were able to spot that from pretty good distance. So the question would be, where do the rest of you stop and wait while some of you sneak up? Like, you can be
Right.
as far away as you want to be.
What do we say, like 50 yards? Is that good? 100
I mean,
yards?
there's
I mean-
the alternative. We
That'd
just
be hot.
we
That's
were
really
making
close.
this too complicated, and we just walk up and talk to them.
Have fun.
yeah,
Yeah, we could do
How about
that.
that?
Yeah, I mean, there's 6 of us and 3 of them, right?
Okay.
sure, why not? I mean,
3 of them, huh?
crazy just to be like normal people.
I know, heaven forbid we do the normal thing.
Let's try it. Let's be
Yeah, let's-
normal.
Yeah,
I mean, if
you
we're
know,
trying not to raise suspicion, that
let's
might
make
be
it
the way to
opposite
do
day,
it.
you know, man? It's like Festivus. Come on, let's go.
We really have been a little too suspicious of everything for too long.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Look who's talking.
I'm trying to change.
Okay, let's go talk.
Okay, you just going up as a group then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we're not gonna. Yeah, we'll make
Sure.
sure. Yeah. Maybe
Like, you are approaching casually, right?
Mhm.
Like, it's, I
Hail,
like,
travelers.
yeah. Okay, so that's I guess what I'm just wanting to make
Yeah.
sure I get. So yeah, so I think as you call out, they do react with some degree of startlement, you know, but one of them, the tiefling, looks more immediately startled, whereas the other 2 are a little bit calmer about it. But the half orc kind of stands up and is looking ahead and just says, "Hello, fellow travelers, are you?"
Yes, hail and well met, forsooth, two bear. It's
Have you ever met anybody on the road before, Otterkey?
it's been a long time.
Yeah, that's casual.
We're just making our way downtown, walking fast.
What the hell is that voice?
Are,
Who are you people anyway?
we are travelers here too. Would you care to come and share our campfire?
Sounds like a
Insight
nice
check.
Yes, I would. Thank you. Yes, man. Yeah, man, I would. Thank
Splendid.
you. I'm very cold.
Are you making an insight check?
Yes.
Okay.
He's gonna throw the campfire at us.
Otterkey is definitely
17.
hiding something.
17. The person speaking seems open and friendly.
And because I rarely ever do it anymore, divine sense
Okay.
to see if they happen to be celestial or fiendish or undead.
Discovered the rest of us are all fiends. Sorry.
Actually,
So-
I've been meaning to tell you something.
Keep it away for a while. Sorry.
So you don't sense any of those things, but you do get one weird little ping from the more androgynous person, where you have certainly personal knowledge of how tieflings are not necessarily fiend-like, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there is just a little tiny echo of that sense when you sense a tiefling, and you certainly sense that with this tiefling, but no more than you would expect for a regular tiefling, right? So just
Okay.
exactly like what you would expect to sense from a regular tiefling.
Cool.
But you get that on the celestial side from the androgynous one.
Okay.
Otherwise, no. They seem ordinary.
Alright, I'll walk up and feel like nice and sit down.
Yeah, I'll take a seat on a log.
Do any of them look injured at all?
No, not
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 yet.
especially.
Dude.
So as you approach, the half orc is the one that kind of comes out to greet you. Not, like she has weapons sitting by where she was sitting at the campfire, but she's not brandishing them, or hasn't, doesn't even have them in her hand. And just kind of says, welcome. By any chance, are you adventurers as well?" And the androgynous one just says, "Sutha, they're obviously adventurers. Look at them. They're It would be our pleasure to have you as guests in our camp." And yeah,
Just
go
gonna
for
keep
it.
a running tab
Sure.
on this inside chat.
24.
Okay. So look, I'll say this is a high one just for the three of them, right? So the impression that you get from each of them is there's no malicious intent. The tiefling looks a little bit more wary of you guys, whereas the half orc is much more open and friendly, and you put positive energy out into the world, you get positive energy back, that sort of attitude, right? And then the androgynous one is or non-binary, we could say, is more kind of wait and see in terms of their demeanors, but none of them happen to have any sort of ulterior motive. They all seem genuinely surprised to have other travelers show up at their campsite. Surprised as in they didn't expect it, but also not in like, how could this happen? It's more like, oh, people that we didn't expect are here. Let's say hi to them. That sort of thing. But yeah, so they introduce themselves. The half orc is named Sutha. The non-binary the person is named Kethra, and then the tiefling is named Patience. And he is a huge nerd, which you gather very quickly upon talking to them. Yeah, so it just immediately starts looking up all your different magic items and asking questions about them, which I'm going to go ahead and say in the abstract are not well, here, I'll just role play an example of, let's see, what's, how about your spider climb robe, Cadence? He just says, "My goodness, the craftsmanship on that makes me think that it's perhaps of drow origin. I'm thinking just in terms of the aesthetics of it. Does it have any actual enchantments? I'm sure it does. It's clearly magical. Let me guess. Something related to spiders. It's the web, see? It's the web pattern. That's what I'm thinking it is. And that bow, I mean, look at it." Right? You guys are covered with magic items. That's incredible. I can only hope that someday I will, in my adventuring career, be able to amass such a plentitude of magical artifacts.
How long have you all been adventuring together?
They kind of turn around and look to each other, and they're just Kethra says, "The three of us are relatively new to one another, but we met at a tavern, and it was a village that was having trouble with a chimera, and we traveled up into the hills to slay it, but on our way back, we stumbled through a portal and ended up here, which is, if I am not mistaken, perhaps the Feywild."
Yes.
Indeed it is.
A portal, huh?
Yes, we have not yet been able to find our way home, but I am optimistic and certainly excited to explore new horizons, and the three of us have certainly gelled together somewhat as a group. And
You want to explore new horizons. Now that's funny.
What
Can-
village, if I might ask.
I didn't come up with the name of their village. It's Nowheresburg. No, it's
From nowhere.
So regionally, where
Yeah, to see.
oh yeah. So they say that they're from a place that's a little bit to the north of Ushbitra.
oh,
Um,
it's not awkward.
can I detect portal to see if there's any portals within like a mile of where we are?
Within a mile.
Mm-hmm.
You sense that there's a place where there is a periodic one, that it's open and it opens and closes sometimes, but is not currently active.
Okay. I will tuck that away and keep it in mind for later.
Yeah, you would have to get closer to it to try to determine maybe what causes it to open versus close. But it appears to be a natural portal versus the fissures that you've all experienced.
Which direction is it in? Because that's all I can tell is how far in which direction.
Yeah, it's deeper into the forest off the road. But yeah, so Sutha is just saying, I got into this whole thing to meet strange and interesting people and to see things I've never seen before. And obviously, I would like to be able to at some point go home, but for right now, this is pretty awesome.
How long have you been here?
Well,
They're
I
supposed
mean,
to know.
we've only made the one camp, so we came through the portal. We were in the forest for a little while. We kind of came out and managed to get here and decided it was a good time to camp. It's a little hard to tell how long it's been, but we haven't had to sleep since then. So I mean, it feels like a day, except that I don't think the sun moves here in the same way.
Yeah, it doesn't. There's no time here.
It moves according to distance rather than time. So where we are now is twilight. If you go back that way, to the east, and you'll find daytime.
Patience, the tiefling, is doing a very sort of, yep, I knew it, sort of posturing, yeah, of course, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I've been telling them that all day.
What the non-binary? So Kethra asks, "What about all of you? You seem like an unexpected assembly yourselves. Are you? Did you also find yourselves here in the Feywild by chance or by cause?"
No, we were invited.
Sort of came here on purpose.
Do you know how to leave at will?
Sort
Outside of banishment?
or like a portal, like a teleportation circle.
Well, I mean, I suppose I could.
Well, I mean, also we have those keys that Amethyst made with Archie. Like we could plate shift if we wanted.
They all look really impressed at the sort of magics that you guys are just tossing around.
Listing up all these ways that we can leave.
We know a
couple
couple
ways.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also like there's a portal over there too that it doesn't open all the time, but you could probably get back that way.
Where's the portal?
It's over that way.
They say, yeah, that's where we came from.
Yeah, it'll open again. If you want to go back through it, it's just unpredictable.
Oh.
It's not
You know
open all the time, because I know these things.
Do you think it will open again soon?
I would have to go closer to the area and have a look around to see what I could see, but I can't tell from here. No.
How can you tell it all?
How long have you known me?
Doesn't seem like it's long
Few
enough.
weeks.
Apparently.
Couple hours. We've known each other for 5 days. You know these things.
By the way,
She knows the same way that I can fly. That's how.
yeah, at this point, the three of them are looking at you guys the way you guys would sort of casually look at, oh, yeah, just a couple of deities have stumbled upon our campsite. No big deal. Yeah, they're just they're realizing that you guys are way more powerful than they are, and that they're glad you seem to be friendly, but there's a little bit of a, Whew, glad you're friendly because if you weren't, we don't know if we could what we could do about it.
Could have really gone sideways.
Yeah.
Do you guys know a lot about the Feywild?
Patience says, well, I've read about it, of course. I've never traveled here myself, but of course, there's lots of lore that's been told about it. I mean, one of my concerns is that even if we are to find this portal back, sometimes it can be difficult to return to exactly the moment that you left, or even however long it's been. We don't know how much time will have passed at home when we return. That is, if we can return. And of course, although there are many wonderful things here in the Feywild, there are dangerous things, of course, too. So we're hoping to survive long enough to return home, and that home will be approximately when we left it.
Well, if you don't survive, going home's going to be a lot harder.
True.
Are any of you?
Sutha laughs at that like really hard. That's right.
Too hard.
I like you. Did you see anything in the forest when you were there? Anything at all? Besides trees. Don't answer trees.
Well, I was going to say trees,
Yeah.
because, I mean, you can see them from here.
Yeah, I can. That's why I said don't say trees.
Right. Other than trees.
Other than trees.
Well, I mean, the little tunnel that we climbed through was, like it was under a tree. So, dirt.
Did you
All right.
encounter any creatures, anything that spoke, aside from the portal, anything magical?
Kethra says, we followed a little floating fairy light
Oh no.
that led us through the tunnel.
That might have actually been good. If it was that queen rather than the other.
I think you're forgetting those.
We lost sight of it going through the tunnel, but then as we passed through and realized we were in a very different place than we were before, we looked to return and found that the tunnel was no longer open to us.
Well, let's, if the five of you recall the little lights that we saw, remember at that one very large tree
Mm-hmm.
that was not so great. Oh. That was loud.
Who did the magic? I heard that.
Excuse me.
And Elvin farts.
So it could be for the best that you lost whatever little floating light led you here.
Well, lots of things are weird floating lights too.
Yeah.
Patience says, I told them that, like, sometimes those could be, like, will-o'-the-wisps, and they lead you into danger, but we weren't near any swamps, and so I thought it might be a pixie or a pseudo-dragon instead. And instead, like, but we didn't really ever get a good look at it, because it was gone by the time we came through the portal.
Interesting.
Well, I hope for your sake you find the way back soon.
Do you? How like the light, the daylight's not really changing or anything, is it? It's just
No.
kind of staying.
Yeah, as you're staying in this location, it's unchanging.
I would kind of like to go and look at the portal site.
Okay.
Who wants to go with me?
I will go with.
But you're not wandering off in the forest alone.
Well, no, Mira's coming with me. I mean, you saw us beat up that bear guy. We'll be fine.
Yeah, I saw
Yeah, we did great.
something. Sure.
I banish alert. No.
I'm home. I'm free.
What about you, Amy?
You show up in the middle of the ocean.
Come with us.
Yeah, I'll
Just
go.
Girls trip.
Girls night out. Finally.
Let's go.
All right.
We needed
All right.
one.
She's got that handy pass without a trace staff.
I have
Just,
Oh,
be
I see why you
careful.
wanted me.
Last thing we
I
need
just
to
thought
do
it'd
is
be fun.
lose
We've
you in
never
the
done
woods.
that before.
Yeah.
So while they go off to look at the portal, so the three guys are staying at the camp. So they are
Pretty clear they don't want
curious
me there,
about whatever of your own story you're willing to share with them. They're interested.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have to role play telling the whole story, but
Right.
if you tell them, then let's just say that that's what happened, and we can, you know. I mean, if you want to keep it secret, that's also okay. I'm just saying that they're wanting to know. Clearly, all of you have been through a lot. What has led you here? What mission are you on that has brought such powerful assembly of individuals to this same place as we?
Well,
We're delivering a letter. No.
it all
Post must go
started.
through.
It all started 3 billion years ago.
Not that again.
So two of the, so Sutha and Kethra kind of go a little eyes wide at that, but then, Patience is just like, yeah, yep. Mhm.
I kind of want to see if through what I can hear back from them, if I can determine if they were just north of Ushbithra, if they knew about the destruction of Ushbithra, or if that didn't happen when they left,
Okay.
to try to establish when they're from.
So you're not asking directly, you're just
No.
trying to pick it up around the details of what they say?
That's it.
Okay.
I'm not
Make
subtle, but I'm going to try.
make an insight check. And this is abstracted over the long conversation.
Yeah, that's the idea. 15.
You get the feeling that they are not familiar with the events at Ushbithra. So they are aware of Ushbithra, they have been there, even though that's not actually where they're from. But they don't seem to describe how it was recently attacked by a giant Golden Plains spirit that crushed big sections of it.
So you'd kind of think that news would travel. All right.
Well, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doesn't
It-
prove anything, but doesn't disprove anything either.
Right. Yeah. So they don't seem to describe Ushbithra as a place that was recently attacked by a giant spirit.
Well, I think we will entertain them while we wait for the women to get into trouble.
All right.
I'd be happy to answer
I mean, I'm sure they'll get out of
random
trouble. too.
adventuring questions, maybe not specifics. about
Okay. Sure.
what we're trying
Yeah,
to do.
I think they hang on your every word because essentially, what I hope is clear is that this is like a level 3 party. And you guys are level 17 or, are you 18 now? I can't remember if I gave you 18. I did, right? No? Okay.
No.
You can give us 18.
17.
We will be now.
Surprise!
Okay.
Yeah, you
Surprise.
No, you have not. I checked everybody's sheets because I
Oh,
thought
yeah,
it
we've
had
been
been a
accredited.
while.
Okay. Yeah.
Maybe later. Who knows?
I think we've just gotten onto some branches past the original milestone. We'll talk about it.
Yeah, Christmas is later.
So yeah. So in any event, you guys are obviously more powerful than them, and the more that they're realizing it, the more they are realizing how good is our luck that we randomly happened across this group of incredibly powerful, interesting people, and they're friendly. That's so great. This is fantastic. And so, in the meantime, Amethyst, Cadence, and Nira are heading out. Cadence, because of your ability as a planar traveler to sense these portals, you can lead everyone right to it.
Okay.
It's about 3/4 of a mile away, directly. It's not on the road. So going through the forest would be difficult terrain for normal people, but Cadence the ranger, Amethyst the druid, and Nira the flying elf all have your
We need the
respective
guy.
means of moving through the thick forest terrain easily, is my point.
Take that,
You
Terrain.
realize, guys, they're never coming back.
Do you blame them?
Now's a good time for us to
Really?
run, girls. Let's go.
Punishment for everybody.
So you guys make your way to this place, and it's obvious when you get there that there's something special about this tree. It's larger than many of the others around it, but not incredibly abnormally so, just a notably big tree. It's kind of up atop a little bit of like an earthy hill, like a mound. And there's clearly a place where this mound that it's sitting on top of, some of the soil has been brushed away, revealing its roots there, but there is clearly an opening, a tunnel opening between some of its roots there.
And that's where the portal is. It's
Yeah.
in the tunnel. Okay. It's not currently open right now, though.
Correct. It's not currently active.
Okay. Now that we're standing near it, is there any way to tell, like, if there's a rhythm to how often it opens, or if it's just random chaos?
Right. I think that what makes the most sense for this roll is wisdom.
Okay.
You can make it a survival roll if you like.
You said guidance also?
Yes.
Okay, so that is wisdom +3, so that is a 19.
19. Yeah, this one has. There's different transitional periods where the different planes have boundaries that grow thicker and thinner as part of normal, like even aside from these fissures and the fracturing that has been occurring more recently, there has always been just like eclipses and stuff like that, places where the boundaries rub against one another and make it a little bit more easy to pass through. And that can just happen with some regularity. You get the feeling that this one, having recently opened, is not likely to open again soon.
Okay. Good to know.
So you think that like it's not on the order of 100 years, but it's certainly not a few days either. It's going to be somewhere in that spectrum, probably more towards the longer end. So it basically, it's probably not practical for them to just wait for this one to open again.
Okay. Alright.
But otherwise, the feeling of this sort of area, this place, it just does feel very, permeated with magic, and just there's a concentration of the spiritual and living fey natural energy in this place. It does definitely feels like a locus of sorts.
Yeah, they're not going back for a while. Like, unless we plane shift with them or something, they're probably stuck here for a good long while.
Well, I think one will be happy. Maybe it's hard to tell with the other two. This might be good news. It might be bad news.
I mean, there are other portals. I mean, this might not be the only portal here. I can only sense them within like a mile of where I am. So I mean, who knows?
And honestly, of the various other planes that have natural portals form with the prime material plane, the Feywild, comparatively speaking, is just lousy with them. That doesn't mean they're around every corner, but compared to other planes, there are many more of them than typical.
All right, that's what that was telling me.
So the idea that they might find another one is definitely not even unlikely, really, if they are looking for one. But it might take a while to find one.
But they wanted to go on an adventure, so here they go.
Yeah.
welcome to adventure.
That's so many love.
Yeah.
Well, should we head back and tell them the news?
I mean, we can. Unless you wanted to run away or something.
Tempting, but I think it's probably not for the best.
Yeah.
Alright.
And any news is better than not having any information at all. So,
Choose. Alright, so we will go back then.
All right.
I guess.
So
You wanna
you
say
fill them
that?
in, I assume. So Sutha, the half orc, definitely seems to just be kind of the sort of person who tries to just find the silver lining in anything. Just try, they're a look on the bright side sort of person. So they're not like thrilled to hear that it's not going to be easy to get home, but they're not downcast either. The other two look a little bit more uncertain, like it's neat being here, but it's kind of would be nice to know we had a way to get home when we needed to.
I
But
mean, look on the bright side, you might find another portal. I can't promise you anything, but you never know. Just be careful. Like, this
Cat-
place is...
Kethra approaches you and asks, "How did you just sense the presence of the portal that way?"
I remember, like, my training and stuff.
Is
I
that
just don't remember my childhood.
is it something you could teach, perhaps?
I'm not sure.
How about we can make a little skill check if you want to try to give portal finding lessons. You
Yeah.
know that, like, you're not going to get someone else to be as skilled as you are over the course of an evening, but you can spend some time saying, "Here's some of the things you look for, especially in a Feywild to material plane transition. Here's kind of the feelings, like here's what you want to kind of try to open your mind to when you're scanning the area, that sort of thing." You can attempt to convey some of those things if you like.
Okay.
Let's have you make have 3 wisdom checks.
Alright. The first one is a 16.
Okay.
The second one is a 14.
Mm-hmm.
And the last one is a 12.
Okay. You find that, like, they're picking up some of it and they're clearly interested, but I think it's maybe been long enough since you actually had to think through the process that it's a little bit hard to explain. It's hard to put into words. You know what you're looking for. It's hard to explain that to someone else.
Yeah.
But you share some tips with them, at least, and that's, appreciated. So, they're getting to a point where they're ready to kind of turn in, and Sutha says, "You're welcome, of course, to share our camp as long as you like. I think in the morning we'll have to be on our way to try to find another one of these portal things, and what other adventures we can get up to in the meantime."
Amethyst, did you want to set a watch with a friend of yours who might be interested in seeing this place?
Huh?
Your staff.
Oh,
Mara.
yeah.
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 Check your Facebook.
We do good. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
I think she'd like it here.
Yeah.
So yeah, I will find a nice little area and take the staff over there and gently set it in the dirt.
All right. And
Holler at my girl.
as the staff takes root in the ground, begins to grow and sprout branches and becomes this enormous 60-foot tree, and emerging from the bark is once again the form of Lenamara, who she's a dryad. For anyone who doesn't remember who Lenamara is, the dryad that lives in your staff, she emerges kind of stretches and yawns. Oh. Hello, Amethyst. You've brought me to the Feywild. That's not how Lenamara talks. She, Lenamara, you brought me to the Feywild.
Yeah, Nira thought you might enjoy it, and it certainly does seem like the kind of place, you know.
It's
would appeal.
interesting.
Have you been here before?
No. The life force here is very powerful, but it's different. It's like the beauty of a mountain versus the beauty of the ocean. They're both natural and both beautiful, but distinct from one another. It's fascinating. How are you?
Oh, you know, out of the frying pan into the fire with us.
Oh, well, you seem well.
Yeah, we're all still alive. Things are better for the tree. I don't know if I've actually let you come out since we've been at that tree that was so upset and upsetting for you. But I did want to tell you that, let you know that the tree is still doing much better than it was.
I'm so glad to hear that. I knew that you were on the case. You were working on it, and I have faith in you, Amethyst, that you know what to do and you will help it to heal.
Well, I have a good crew. And then I'm going to look to Nara and ask her if there was anything in particular that she was thinking of with I can't say her name now. Lenamara.
Lenamara.
There it is. Sorry. It's getting wrapped up around that one.
Well, I just thought it might be nice for our new friends to be able to get a night's rest under some watchful eyes.
Oh, well, of course. And so if you're introducing everybody, I think that there's like a round of friendly introductions. They're really excited to meet a dryad, and especially it's like, okay, so your staff is actually a tree, which is actually a dryad, but not a dryad from here. That's amazing. And, but they're happy to meet her, and she's happy to meet them, and there's just lots more sort of playful, small talk. And, but yes, she absolutely agrees to watch over all of you as you make camp. Are the rest of you actually gonna take your rest here, or are you doing the mansion or anything, or?
Well, I got one more thing to ask them about before we
Sure.
rest. So I reach into my pockets and I pull out 4 stones and set them down in front of me. They're small, they're almost larger than coins, each one with a couple of dwarven runes on top. I don't imagine any of you understand Dwarven, so I'll translate. But if anything comes to mind, it might be important. This one I don't need to know. And I cover up one of them and put it in my pocket. This one on the end, it means 3 breaths. This one in the middle is 3 eyes. And this first one, well, it means 3 deaths. Does any of that mean anything to you?
They certainly are all intrigued, interested, as you're explaining all that. When you say the 3 deaths, they can't help but, there's a little bit of a wave of sort of feeling about it. That one's more ominous than the other 2.
There's 3 of them.
Yeah.
I mean, 3 eyes is pretty dark.
Right.
Too.
So, they're smart people. I think that the at least one possible meaning of the 3 deaths does not escape them. But they study them. Kethra actually casts a spell and touches the stones, and just she casts comprehend languages, and she's reading them themselves. Not that they doubted you as much as just kind of wanting to see if there's nuance.
My handwriting is a little rough, I admit.
They do ask why there was another one that you felt like they didn't have to see.
We think we know what that one means, and I didn't want to cloud things, and I'll put it out too.
Okay.
This one means 3 days, which we think we know.
Okay. Yeah, they're not sure. I mean, there's a little bit of a feeling like, what are these? Like, are they supposed to be some sort of a prophecy or something like that? And
That's one way to think about it. It might also be a puzzle, or it might be a distraction. I didn't want to give you any context, just to make sure that your thoughts are pure. In fact, I'm not sure what context I can really give, to be honest.
well, so yeah, they are interested, and they seem genuinely like they wish they could help, but they're not. They don't know what any of it means either.
Then give it no mind, and I'll put the stones away.
I am not casting Dimension tonight.
Okay. Just hanging out,
Mm-hmm.
chilling. The weather is very nice, like you've picked a spot where it's, it's kind of just like dusk, right? So you've got that sort of nice, cool evening breeze. It's not direct sunlight here, but there's still a little bit of warmth. And it's a very comfortable sort of spot. It's a beautiful camping site.
So as like we're turning in for the night, when I go to do my meditations, I'm going to specifically think about the little riddle we've been presented with, and feed that into Rushama.
Okay.
See if I get any
Working.
Like a high, like a Jenny hole.
Well, one of my favorite ones of those actually is actually just from 2001, where HAL 9000 says, "Just a moment, just a moment." Yes, and now, and anyway, yeah. So you just kind of ponder over this sort of riddle as you're praying to Rashama.
and also feeding in what we already know about the bee people and the honey, everything we've gathered so far.
Right. So make a religion check.
Come back. 18.
So, reaching out to the spirit of Rashama within you for insight on all of this, you definitely get an echo of the feeling that the way it was presented to you suggested that these are all things that you will encounter in the future. And so some of them may well be things that will not be, it could not be predicted until you have encountered them. Like so many prophecies, often there is no way to know until it happens what it's actually predicting, which is one of the reasons prophecy can be such a frustrating thing. But certainly the 3 days does, echoes that seems to be the right connection there, that the amount of travel that you're taking to get there is what that means. The only other one that you have any indication of at all so far, it doesn't seem like it's a coincidence that you have met these 3 people. And you don't know necessarily what it would be, but one possible interpretation is that 3 deaths indicates that these 3 people are going to die.
Okay.
You don't know that, but it seems one possibility.
Okay. All right. Gonna sit on that and turn in for the night.
All right.
I do want to find Cadence before everything is asleep. I didn't want to say anything before. I didn't know what we were telling them, the three of them. But because you could sense this, I have to ask, was this your tree? Was this Emerald Arboreus?
No,
No.
no. It's just
Ah.
a portal.
I had thought maybe that since it started growing again, that maybe it had pierced places like this.
No, it's just a random portal.
No. I'm sorry.
I can sense them. All of them.
You've always been able to do that?
Mm-hmm.
Wonder why.
I just taught to.
You what?
I was taught to.
Hmm.
When I was studying under my master's, learning to climb the tree.
And they all feel the same, all of the portals, no matter what created them.
They don't feel the same. I can just sense them. I mean, they all feel different.
That's a rare gift. Skill, whatever. I wonder. There's a lot of things that happen throughout the span of lifetimes. And for a long time, I think I considered a lot of it to be random. But I'm not so sure. And I don't think it's random that we found you and you joined us. I guess what I'm saying is, I may not say it enough, but I'm glad you're here.
Thank you. I'm glad that I met you.
Well, then I should probably get some sleep before I ruin that impression.
All right. Don't go diving into any weird portals while you're sleeping.
No promises.
We're not coming after you this time. I'm just telling you.
That's all
No, we
right.
probably will. Never mind.
I'll carry a rope next time. How's that?
All right.
Fair enough.
Good night, Alora.
Good night, Cadence of the Water.
So, as you all attempt to get your long rest, your rest, your evening is undisturbed. You are able to each get a long rest with no difficulties. And as like there's not the sun doesn't set or rise or anything, so that is unchanged as you rest there. But you are able to each rest until you are rested, and then these other three are they do ask you, Cadence. So the road that you guys came from out of the forest, were there any portals that you knew about that way?
I wasn't really looking at the time. I deliberately looked for this portal.
So I think that what you, as a group, all of you, could tell them is that to travel back along that road will lead you to, like, the heart of the Dawn Queen's domain, right? And so whether or not you want to advise that they go in that direction, I think you guys can make your own judgment on that. But that's what they would find if they continue on the road back the way you guys came.
Well, I think I would tell them that, and probably with a hint of caution in my voice, because that's like big time.
Right.
If they I'm going to assume they're parting ways from us.
Well, I mean, the way they kind of put it is that you guys are obviously on a big important mission, whereas they're kind of just wandering, looking for a way home. They kind of assume that you guys don't need them tagging around, slowing you down. And they're not going to press the issue.
I mean, it's probably for the best. I wouldn't want you to get hurt, personally.
It isn't a safe path that we usually end up.
No.
And,
But the path that they're going on isn't exactly safe either.
well,
We don't know what's in these woods either, so.
they don't have to go east or west. They could go north or south and stay in the twilight between these kingdoms.
Sure.
Might be a safer path, I don't know. Cadence, you know more about this place than I do.
I think that it would be wise to stick to the road, whichever way you go. Stay out of the woods unless you're deliberately searching for a portal. I don't have many issues with the Dawn Queen. Not as many as others. But
Kethra asks, it does sound as though that is a place where we could find individuals of knowledge and skill, and the challenges there would be of a political nature rather than one of survival.
Hey, I've seen some bad fights break out at a dinner party, so I'm not so sure that's a guarantee.
Generally, I think that's true. Yeah.
yeah, I think that is true. That is a wise assumption. But also, going there and asking for help, nothing here is ever free. So keep that in mind. That
They all kind of nod, and Sutha goes around, offers a hug to everybody, but only if it seems welcome.
Well, in
Oh, yeah.
return, maybe just something to help them, because I've been carting it around for ages and I don't need it. I have this spell scroll of detect good is it detect? Hold on.
We've got some spare cloaks.
It is a
Yeah.
scroll of dispel good and evil.
Okay, nice.
How does their
And-
armor look?
Only Sutha has armor. She's wearing studded leather armor. The other two are, magic user, no armor sort of types.
I will give her a set of scale mail. Actually, I have half plate. If she would wear it,
She would.
I'll give her that.
Yeah, we've got 4 sets.
Yeah,
Do you tell her
Yes.
that it's from Githyanki?
sure.
She thinks that's really cool.
These Githyanki that we fought and killed. Yeah, that's what we done.
Yeah, just don't tell him that. What about those cloaks? I don't think I'm going to need it. Otterkey might
I've
still
got
need
an
one.
extra.
Okay, but I think if they show up there wearing cloaks that Denobria gave us when we left, he's gonna be a little put out.
He's going to be a little put out anyway.
Not if they catch him in the right mood.
Yeah, I mean it depends on the season when they show up. But I mean, if they show up wearing cloaks that he gave us, I think that they're gonna, it's
Yeah.
gonna be upsetting.
Yeah, so that's why I'm giving the spell scroll. It's 5th level spell scroll, and I
Okay.
would assume that the
Yeah.
spellcaster can use it.
Patience takes it and he looks at it and he kind of says, yeah, I'm sure I can.
Well, if you can't, you might be able to sell it for something that would be more useful to you.
Oh, well, I can use it though.
All right. Well, I'm just saying.
Yeah,
At your
I
discretion,
think you
if
don't
you're
need
so
an
that you
insight
choose.
check to say that, like,
Yeah.
he thinks so. Basically, what I'm saying is he would have to make a check, but it's not an automatic no.
And I got to really dump some of this inventory. What the hell?
Yeah, how do you get rid of stuff in your inventory?
just
Under
did.
management equipment, inventory.
Yeah, you just click on it and it'll let you remove it.
Yeah.
D&D Beyond, everybody. With all of that, they say their goodbyes. Sutha gives hugs to everyone who wants one. The other two are more content to like shake hands, but they're very thankful for, your generosity in sharing so much useful information with them, and they hope you are, well as you continue whatever your mission is.
I just really hope
Wish
nobody was
them well
tracking
on
any of that
theirs.
stuff.
Give them a
As
blessing.
they turn their backs, like, kill them all.
All right, so you continue on into the dark forest.
Keep on walking.
All right.
Seems like the most reasonable thing to do. Go into the dark forest.
Yeah. It's on the way.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get another survival check for this path.
20.
All right.
Not natural.
With your D4
Oh, I didn't even roll the d4.
guidance.
Oh. 23.
All right. So I think at this point, you begin to realize that the fact that this road seems to continue going exactly the way you want to go, you're beginning to suspect that it might not be coincidence. Like you are being aided somehow by there being a road going exactly the way you need to go. And you're so to the point where you're not actually sure if it was objectively there before or would still be there after you leave it. But
Well, our advice to follow.
it
the
is
road,
there
so.
now, going exactly the way you want to go.
Somebody really wants us to go this way, you guys.
Don't want to look a gift road in the mouth.
I mean, I do, though. I
Well,
did check the road.
Yeah.
Does it have a mouth to look into?
Yeah, go ahead
He
and roll
just
it.
said it did.
You never know.
Yeah,
He
go ahead
just
and
said
roll.
it did. Don't look the gift road in the mouth. So right there.
16.
It's kind of hard to read.
I don't speak road, you guys.
It's kind of hard to read.
Asphalt.
I don't speak loud.
Yeah. So you're continuing though. You're making good time. You guys are all experienced adventurers at this point.
We're good at walking down a road.
Well, I just mean what I mean is that you're making good time. You don't have to stop and rest a lot. You're making good progress. You're feeling confident about your group as you proceed through. That you're maintaining awareness. You guys know what to look for. You're making good time. That's my
There's
point.
no
now I'm
lollygagging.
nervous.
No lollygagging.
Like bee congregations, or are there any bees that have been following us today?
You haven't noticed any so far.
Okay.
I could take a look up higher in the trees, although that would slow us down because it's kind of dense.
Hey, if you're up there,
I could be, is what I'm
Mhm.
saying. I
If-
am not,
if
but I
you're-
could be.
if you go up there, if you decide to go up there, see if you can see mountains anywhere off in the distance.
All right.
Just
I'm-
go. You know you want to.
Yeah. So, one quick question before we resolve that. Are you guys using light at all? I mean, theoretically, I think everyone has dark vision except for Amethyst, who has the goggles.
Goggles. Yeah,
Right?
put those on.
But are you just relying on your night vision, or are you, doing torches or anything else lit up?
If we all have night vision, I don't know why we would bother with torches.
Wouldn't occur to
Yeah.
Archie to do anything.
Well, you can't see as great a distance, and you don't see color, only
True.
shades of, gray, right? So,
Right.
like, you can see, you're not going to trip over anything, but not as well as if you. So that's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're not lighting up anything, that's fine.
I'm enjoying the night.
Sure.
Don't want to make the trees nervous after
Yeah.
all.
Yeah,
Lighten up some guns.
especially with you carrying that axe
Mm-hmm.
around.
So the tree canopy is relatively thick here, so you can get up through it without difficulty, Nira, but it's hard to see your party members below you, especially because they don't have anything lit up on them. So you can go up above the trees, but you wouldn't want to go far because it would be difficult to find them again.
Right, right. So I'm assuming everybody stopped so I could go take a look. I hope you didn't keep
Oh
on
yeah,
walking.
yeah. We're not gonna
Quick,
keep walking.
everybody scatter.
Yeah, it's like,
Quick,
finally
hide,
she's
guys.
gone, into the woods.
Punishment for
woods.
everybody.
So I think as you get up above the tree canopy, there's a bit more light there because there is starlight, and there is a sort of crescent moon hanging in the sky. You have, as you look at it, a weird, slightly uncanny feeling that it's not the same moon.
That's no moon.
But so
Key
you
station.
can see a bit better. You still don't see any mountains on the horizon, no.
Okay.
But it's also still dark.
Right.
Yeah.
All right.
So yeah. So
Back down then.
can't really see much, unfortunately. But you guys are continuing to make your way, and as you are starting to get to the point where I'm going to assume Nira does that periodically.
Yeah.
So you've gotten to the point where you can see on the horizon it's starting to get light again. And so that's about where you are when, as you come around a slight curve in the road, you realize that up ahead there is something with bright lights on it. And you realize at about that time that you see it that there is a subtle sound that you're hearing from a significant distance away. So you can't really make it out, but it seems a little bit rhythmic, like it might be music, but you're still very far away.
So, what shall one do?
Is it in our way? Or our
If
path
you
to
stay
where
on the
it's
road,
going
you will go right to it.
Can Neri get a better look at it from up in the sky?
Yeah.
Okay.
If you-
I
if
mean,
you
I'll,
want.
I'll go take a
Yeah.
look.
Mhm.
I have silence at the ready at this
Sure,
point.
sure.
so-
Yeah. So you fly a bit closer, and it's easy to see from above because there's a whole area where the trees have been cleared, and you see what looks like a stage, like an outdoor theater festival, and but it's got sort of very brightly painted colored backdrops, and you see a collection of 4 humanoids standing on the stage, and there's not any like real audience, but there's 3 sort of small humanoid shapes standing out, just where the audience would be, but there's no one else there. And as you get closer, you definitely hear, sort of bright, cheery music being played. That's what you can get from like a few hundred feet away.
Oh, that's not weird or anything. Okay, I'm gonna go report. Tell everything as I saw it. Like a weird clearing in the middle of nowhere. Like, I don't know about this, guys.
Do I know anything about a weird theater in the Feywild?
No.
Okay.
Well,
I
okay.
didn't know.
How about this? You have heard legends of there being a whole big thing about theater in the Feywild. However, what you know about it does not seem to match what Nira described.
That doesn't sound anything like what I know. It's probably not even the same thing. I don't know.
It's probably a trap.
Well, yeah.
Everything here is a trap, including the road.
So the road goes right up to that clearing? Or is
It
off the
goes
road?
so it's the clearing, like the road passes through the clearing. And so basically, if you imagine the road goes along one side of the clearing while the stage and all the rest of that is all on one side of the road.
Do you think the music is dangerous like Cats was?
I I don't know. I couldn't tell from that distance.
It's probably
I
better
don't
you
think it's
didn't.
outside the realm of possibility.
Is it in sun at that point?
It's not, but there are lights there so the stage is brightly lit, so you can see everything there really well. But it's because it's lit up, not from the sun.
Who here has immunity or like who can't be charmed?
Well, the axe protects me.
I can't be restrained. But I can be charmed.
Otterkey, was your silver
Nothing
sword?
Yeah,
Was
I was
it immunity
gonna
to
say-
charm or just advantage?
Yeah, I was just trying to remember. I think it is immunity. Immune.
So
Yes.
maybe you two could get a little closer to see. I mean, if you're immune to charm effects, then you wouldn't be able to be charmed. You could see what's going on.
I mean, Haruki has gotten a lot quieter on his feet, but maybe I should go up.
Well, you should both go. That way, like you have each other's backs. I don't want anybody to go anywhere alone.
All right, but just stay back a little further, Haruki.
I know.
You still make a lot of noise when you move.
Oh, I know. I accept it.
Except
All right. So the two of you are creeping up then.
Yeah,
Are you approaching stealthily?
yeah.
Yes.
Go ahead and make stealth checks for me then, please.
roll those beautiful dice.
Yeah, I crapped out on the roll. 20 total.
6.
All right. So this is what happens when you don't go with the druid who casts Pass Without Trace, huh?
God.
Yeah. So here's how that plays out. Yeah. So you guys are making your way closer and closer, and you get to where you can see through the trees to the clearing, and you can see now that from the proper viewing angle as opposed to above, you can see that there are big words spelled out all along the backdrop of the stage. And what they say is incredible, ingenious, impeccable. And there are 4 individuals on the stage. One appears to be a human man with a lute. One appears to be, in some ways, like it's a little bit like maybe a dwarf, but even smaller. So maybe a gnome, but big, thick white beard, bright red cap, and wearing big, thick, huge boots that are like disproportionately big on this small creature. There is also a satyr. There's a person that looks, has, goat legs. And there is also what looks like a humanoid construct of some kind. And you see them standing around talking to one another casually, like they're waiting for something to happen. And then as your attention turns to the 3 figures that are, in the audience position, you're looking at those and you're realizing that they don't, they have the basic humanoid configuration in terms of 2 arms, 2 legs, a head, and so on, but they're not wearing any clothes. Their flesh is kind of mottled gray and a little bit spiky on the back. And as you are looking at them, standing at the edge of the clearing, in unison, all 3 of them turn to face you, and you realize that their faces, they each have just one giant green eye. And they look right at you and say, "Welcome to Incredible, Ingenious, Impeccable. Care to enter, try your chances, and win a wish?"
3 friggin' eyes. So many layers, so many levels.
They're heading over in your direction.
Hello. Hi.
I'm just gonna stand up after that introduction.
Yeah,
When?
they are clambering
Yes.
over themselves to get over to you, and you realize that the three of them, when they talk, they frequently finish each other's sentences with no apparent hesitation. Like, it does seem to be three individuals, but perhaps of a hive mind, perhaps, or just so like-minded that they just all each know what the other is trying to say. So they're all just clambering all over each other. It's like, we are in need of new contestants. We have 4 already ready to play, but the game is no fun without more. No, we need more. But we have a wish on offer. Compete in our games, and you may find that you get exactly what you're looking for in the form of the most powerful and most sought after of all magics, the wish. Come, come, bring your
is
friends.
the cost of entry? What is the cost of entry?
Cost of entry? No. It is the thrill of the competition that we seek. There is no cost to enter, only that you agree to participate by following the rules of the competition.
And what's the risk?
So what are the rules?
Well, the rules are different for each round, of course, but we will explain before each round. And you can, of course, at any time choose to withdraw and forfeit at no penalty, but, of course, sacrificing your opportunity to win the wish.
Of course.
And as for risk, my dwarven friend, is there reward without risk? We offer an incredible reward.
So the risk is equally incredible then.
Ingenious. Impeccable.
Yeah.
But for seasoned adventurers such as you, I am confident that you would be able to do splendidly in this competition. And we're not talking about risk of death, only losing the competition.
Yep, it's a trap.
Do tell us you'll enter. Do you know anyone else who would also be interested in entering? The more chance, if all of you are together, of course, if any one of you wins, then you have a wish for your entire group. Just one wish, of course. We only have the one. But you'll increase your likelihood of success with more participants.
And who grants this wish? Should we win? Who's the benefactor of this competition?
The benefactor is
Who runs
us.
the show?
We do, of course.
We had such power. Why would you not just use it for yourself?
We have been granted the bounty of this wish spell, and we wish to pass on our good luck to those who travel through these woods. We
That
wish
sounds
to
like a-
share this bounty with those who deserve it. And how best to determine who deserves it than through a competition, fun and games.
That seems like 2 wasted wishes right there. Still, 3 eyes, huh?
They each blink in sequence, like blink, blink, blink.
Bing, bing, bing. This looks fascinating. I think we should definitely tell our friends about it, and we'll get back to you. We'll let you know. Yeah. We'll go recruit.
They turn and shout back at this stage, "Did you hear that? We should have more players soon!" And the 4 on the stage look like they feel somewhat ambivalent about that.
They are incredibly ambivalent. They are ingeniously ambivalent. They are impeccably ambivalent.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's tell the rest of them the good news.
Yeah.
So get back.
Get on
First
that.
words. It's a trap, but it might be useful.
I say we keep going. Forget them.
Well, we
Three
could
eyes,
get
huh?
a cool wish.
At what cost?
I'm
you
more
know,
When does anybody
interest-
get a wish for free?
I'm more
Oh, there's a
interested in the
competition.
eyes.
Yeah.
there's
Yeah,
3
wasn't
of
that part of
them.
the wasn't that your whole
Mhm.
part
Well,
of the
that was the
whole
middle one.
thing?
And the others aren't dead, so far as we know.
They might be. Nero, you
We
should
get
cast
them
the
to
message
play.
to them.
Why did she
No, that would be
want us to know this?
We couldn't do that to them.
3 eyes.
Look if those three brothers are in, where those three adventurers are in there, and we have to kill them, and that's the test.
Well, I have no idea what the competition is, other than a lot of people can participate.
Mm-hmm.
What would you do with a wish anyway? What would you wish for?
What would you do with the drunken sailor? I mean, who knows? You don't know till you got it, right?
And can you trust them to do the wish as you intend it to be done? Or is it like a genie wish?
One of those, yeah.
Because they sound pretty suspicious.
Anyone who's got proficiency in Arcana can make an Arcana check.
Not this group.
Does nobody
10.
have Arcana? Okay.
10.
Not
So I think with a 10, you are certainly aware that, you know, even there's sort of folklore about wishes as sort of like, you know, fairy tales and that sort of thing. But there is also, at a 9th level spell, there is a spell called Wish, and it has incredibly powerful properties. And you would probably guess, without necessarily knowing everything about it, that might be what they're talking about, is that they have the ability to cast that spell one time, and that
Well, what do you say, guys? Do we pause here and
Why not?
We're already headed on this road. It's the Three Eyes. Like, I mean,
It seems destined.
Let's do it.
destined or set up.
Let's not be chicken. Do it.
All right, I'm in.
Yeah.
okay?
is everybody going to participate?
Well, what's
Yeah.
Sure.
Well,
I
can't speak for
guess.
them, but I
I hope
am.
they turn me into a pig if I lose.
that? Wait, are you getting the wish you wanted or the wish you don't want?
Cadence,
All right.
if you were a pig, I would not eat you.
I
Alaric
would.
probably would.
Yeah.
He wouldn't care. He'd be like bacon for days.
All right.
I'm sure you would taste just great as a bacon.
I hope we never find out. Let's go.
Wishful thinking. Well, I'm not taking credit for that. That was Prince Justin in the chat. So as you all approach, these three one-eyed individuals are just like they're like throwing themselves on the ground and like rolling around in laughter as their happiness at having so many new participants in their competition is just they're overcome and overjoyed, and they're so glad to bring you in. They're taking you by the hand, they're showing you up to the stage, and it's saying it's so wonderful to have so many contestants, and I'm sure that the most deserving will earn the prize and be granted their wish. But first, you can meet additional contestants here, and you see that the four on stage. There was this red-headed human man with a lute, the sort of gnome-like individual with the big chunky boots and the red hat, satyr, and they're this big sort of construct, like it looks like someone wearing full armor where you can't see anything, except it kind of looks like there might not actually be an organic person under there. It might be completely a construct. But shaped like a person. But they greet, the other contestants greet you kind of warily. Like they're not impolite, but they don't look thrilled necessarily to have 6 new entries. But again, like that could just be like they were hoping to win the wish, and now there's, now they've got more people to compete against.
Hope you guys didn't have to wait long.
And, the human man just says, well, no, not that long, but we are certainly eager to begin. And if they think we have enough now, then absolutely. Let's get things started, shall we? And he kind of strums his lute. And these 3 one-eyed fellows are sort of crawling all over themselves, getting back to their sort of like judges' positions. And they just say, now let's begin! And all of a sudden you realize that the various lights are animated in ways that they start spinning and spiraling all around, just doing all sorts of nifty little effects. And the music spins up louder. And they're saying, and now it's time for incredible, ingenious, impeccable. I just realized my notes say indigenous, not ingenious.
I think we may be at a disadvantage.
Inconceivable.
We're here to determine the most worthy contestant to win a wish. And we will begin with round 1. Each of you must tame and ride an oleander drake. And all of a sudden lights light up on the other side of the clearing, and you see over there, they're creatures that look approximately like dragonkin, but they're the size of like a grizzly bear. But in addition to their scales all over them, they have what look like flowers growing out of their scales. It's like each of you in turn will attempt to tame and ride one of these oleander drakes, and the best among you will get the most points, but those of you who fail will be eliminated.
Could you define eliminated?
You will no longer be in competition for the wish.
Okay.
You will not be permitted to proceed to round 2.
How about existence? Is that still going to continue?
Will
Well-
you still be alive?
Unless, in the depths of your sorrow, you choose to end your own life, your existence shall continue uninterfered with by us.
Okay.
That's close enough.
Thanks.
So basically, let's roll initiative just to determine the sequence of turns.
Sure.
So
10.
18.
what was that? 18?
Yep.
18?
11.
11?
19.
19?
15.
15? Amethyst?
11.
11. All right. I think we're going to give Ket the first 11. Because
Okay.
I think he has the best dexterity. But in this case, this is not like a proper combat. This is just turn order.
Right on.
All right. Let me roll for the other contestants here. 2. And then... you all rolled relatively high, and they're rolling low so far. But okay, ooh, not him though. And then All right. Okay. First up is Mr. Redcap. And it is the little gnome guy with the red hat. And so he makes his way over, followed by a spotlight, which tracks his journey over to where these oleander drakes are. And it's essentially a big pen where there's like 5 or 6 of them. And it's like, you may choose any that you like, but you must ride it until it is calm. And so he is going to try to do that. And basically, these are all going to be skill checks where you're going to make just a sequence of different checks. All right. And just as he's getting started, he said, "Oh, but we can't forget the rules, can we? The rules for round 1 are simple. No magic." And this Redcap just starts grumbling, like, "I don't use magic anyway. It's all a big waste of time. I can't believe I'm having to do this, but whatever. Come on here. Get over here, you stupid thing." He's just grumbling. But first, he's going to make an animal handling roll.
I think this Redcap has a terrible attitude.
Gets a 17. So even though he's kind of grouchy, he sort of picks out one of these things and he kind of just stomps over to it, and his boots are just really clumping, clump, clump, clump in these heavy boots. But he just points at one of them and says, "You! All right, I'm going to ride you now." And it seems to stare at him dubiously, but does not run away. And now he is going to make a dexterity saving throw. Natural 20. So that's a 21 for him. And then last but not least, he has to perform. It's a performance roll where he's, basically trying to, make it obey him with a charisma-based check. And that's just an 11. But it takes him a little while to do that. Like, he gets it to let him aboard. He stays on while it tries to shake him off, but then manages to eventually get it to kind of calm down. But that takes a little while. But it is decided that he is successful and will proceed to round 2. Next, Autokey.
All right.
So, as with the Redcap, you're going to make an animal handling roll, a dexterity saving throw, and then a performance check.
Okay. Select one. So first would be a dex roll, which is
Animal handling first.
I'm sorry. Animal handling, which I'm already not great at, so it's a 7.
7. All right. So you find that immediately upon you entering the pen, they all kind of start trying to run away from you. All right.
Try to grab one.
So now it's dexterity saving throw.
14. Oh, saving throw is even better. 18.
All right, 18. Yep, you are able, despite them fleeing from you, to leap aboard one, land on it, stride its back, and holding on to this strange, flowery, scaled flesh. But you are able to stay on board while it tries to shake you off, and now a performance check to try to get it to obey you and begin riding in a presentational way.
17.
17. All right, Autokey the Tiefling had a little bit of a rough start, but he was ultimately successful and will also proceed to round 2. All right, next is Cadence.
Okay.
On Cadence.
So, animal handling first.
27.
27. They come flocking to you like you have food or something.
I picked the prettiest one.
Oh, well, it's adorable.
All right, and then Dex,
Yeah, dexterity saving throw.
17.
17. Yeah. Able to climb aboard with no problem and stay in position. And then
All right.
performance.
13.
13. All right. And an excellent performance by Cadence of the Water, who is also going to proceed to round 2. Next, Alaric.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we'll all get to find out what happens when somebody fails this.
I can't wait to see this.
All right.
So,
well,
animal handling first.
15.
15, not bad.
Surprise me.
Hmm.
All right, you ugly one. I'm going to use my Indomitable
All right.
dexterity saving throw
Okay.
because I don't think 8's going to do it.
Hmm.
But a total of 20 might. Dirty.
All right, yeah. Everyone's doing well so far. Performance last.
Just be nice, and this will last a lot less time. What was the third one? Performance.
Performance, yeah.
Jesus. I'll start to sing to it. I sing very badly off key. That is a 4.
A 4.
Why? Yeah, stop this.
So, yeah, like you are expertly staying aboard as it tries to buck you off for a long time. Eventually, it just gets tired. So, it's a pretty ungraceful finish, but technically you did succeed at the objective. And so, Alaric will also proceed to round 2.
That was unexpected.
Next is Ket of the Sands.
All right. Animal handling up first.
Mm-hmm.
That is a 9.
A 9, yeah, mm-hmm.
Dexterity saving throw.
Yep,
That is a 13.
13.
And my performance, that is a 16, 33.
33. Yep. So this is another one where they're pretty wary of you at first, but then you manage to get aboard and you make it look good. You're doing tricks as you're and making it look like it's every move is by your design, like it's a big dance.
Knock, knock, motherfuckers.
And
You get the trained one.
yeah, and eventually, as it realizes that you are just somehow anticipating its every move, it starts to say, "Well, obviously, I should do what he says. He knows what he's doing." So by the end, you've got this thing dominated. Not like literally, but just like
I got you. Yeah. It's no
Under
bullying or
control.
anything, but yeah, I get it. Yeah.
All right. Next is Amethyst.
I make those quips just so Mark can shake his head.
So, animal handling is 14.
All right.
Love that roll. And then dexterity is
So
22.
Dexterity saving throw.
Mm-hmm. And then performance is 10.
Okay. Yep. So it is not as spectacular as Ket's performance just was, but you are also successful and will proceed. And so far, so good. Everyone is doing splendidly. Let's see how Nira will do.
I got a bad feeling about this. That's 3.
Hey,
I got a bad feeling about this.
are we dying?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, animal handling.
Mm-hmm.
16.
16.
Dex. 14.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And let's see, what was the performance as the last one?
Yep.
17. Holy shit.
Everyone's doing great. And you are also able to tame and ride the Oleander Drake.
She's really just flying, hovering above it most of the time.
Now that the 3 remaining contestants, now having watched all of you succeed, are definitely looking annoyed. That's like, oh great, So not only now are we competing against more people, but they're also good. So like, all right. So next is the satyr going to try to make their rolls. So first, animal handling. And that's an 11, which could be worse. Dexterity saving throw. They're pretty good at that one, 19. And then performance, another 19, so they also do well. Next, it is the young man with the lute who going to make his animal handling, natural 20. Everyone's doing great. And then dexterity saving throw, 18. Performance, 18. All right, and then last but not least, the Warforged. Animal handling, 14. Dexterity saving throw, 7. That one's not as graceful. And then performance, 6. And alas, our Warforged friend becomes the first contestant eliminated from the competition. I'm sorry, but you are a valiant competitor, and you are free to win again next time, but you will not continue to round 2. The rest of you, congratulations, you have succeeded in round 1, but in round 2, the challenges become even more difficult. Who's ready to proceed to round 2?
Me, I'm ready. Yeah, let's go. What
All
you
right.
gonna do, brother?
All right, so as before, the red cap goes first, but round 2, they point out, round 2, as you can see now on the stage among you, are a bunch of Kilmuli, and you realize suddenly that, like, they're just like in around where all of you are standing on the stage, there are now these tiny, weird little fey creatures that, like, they look a little bit like maybe like an anteater person, but weird, sort of like warty skin, and they're kind of ugly cute, if you know what I mean. And they're all about 2 feet tall, and they weren't there a second ago, but now they are. And then they all disappear again, just poof. And it's saying, each of you will have to capture one of these invisible Kilmuli. But there are rules. No magic, and 1 hand behind your back. And each of you suddenly find your hand, it's hidden, like, held behind your back. So,
Does that include magic items?
They said no magic.
Is Cat still bound? Because he can't be bound, I believe.
So I think that it's not a binding so much as a compulsion. Like, there's nothing physically holding it there.
Is it a charm?
It is what it needs to be for it to work without bullshit.
Right, it's a rule.
Because we're accepting
It's
the game.
fey magic.
Rules
A
are
fairy
rules,
did
damn
it.
it.
A fairy
I
did
have
it.
to find some advantage somewhere.
Yeah.
None of this is
Yeah. So the rules are no magic, and 1 hand behind your back, which is basically just going to amount to, we're just doing another skill check. So this time, it's going to be a little bit more difficult. So first, the red cap needs to make a survival or investigation to try to track where one of these things must have gone. And he's going to make survival for him, and that is a 19. And then to try to perception, to try to see, like, now that he's located an area he thinks one might be, he has to try to hear it or sense its footsteps. That's a natural 1. He is having difficulty finding it, but he's not sure exactly where it is. We're abstracting. It's not like he's completely unable to find it, but he's not sure enough. So he's going to try to grab at it, and it's disadvantage athletics. It's a grapple check, but disadvantage because he's only got one hand. And that is a... oh, he's stronger than I thought. But a 7. He is unable to grab one. He goes sprawling and just ass over tea kettle with those big boots going clomp, 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 clomp as he tumbles down off the stage after trying to grab this thing and fails to come up with one. And just like, I'm sorry, but our friend the Red Cap has been eliminated.
What happens to them when they're eliminated? Are they
So
sitting
the
in the
Warforged just like stomped off into the forest.
Ah.
The Red Cap starts cursing in Sylvan. It's in Sylvan. So if you don't understand Sylvan, you can still probably get the gist of it. The body language is not subtle, but
You
he
are the
basically,
weakest link. Goodbye.
but he also basically just decides he doesn't want to stick around. He is grousing loudly in Sylvan as he leaves the clearing. All right, next is Autokey.
All right.
So first, at either survival or investigation to try to get a sense of where one of these things might be.
Let's see. I'll take investigation because that's not a negative. 11.
11. It's not bad. You feel like you have you see some little footprints in there. So now make a perception check to try to get a sense of exactly where it is and how you might grab it.
Yeah, we know how great Archie is at that. 18.
18. Yeah, you are pretty sure you have spotted one and got it cornered. So now we need you to try to grapple it. So that's athletics, but with disadvantage because you've only got one hand.
So lowest is 20. Soft
20. Yeah. So you were a little worried, but this one, it's the little pitter patter of its feet across the stage just happened to cross your ears. You spotted it, and striking like a snake, you managed to get it around the scruff of its little scaly neck, and it immediately appears visible in your hand as you catch it and hold it
Gotcha.
aloft. And it is absolutely squirming like it does not like this at all. So how long do you hold it as it's trying to get away and like trying?
Toss it just for a second, just to
Okay.
show it around and then toss it.
It turns invisible again before it hits the ground, but then you do hear it go plump shortly after that. And Autoke will be proceeding to round 3. Next, Cadence.
Okay. Oh, nice. 23.
So
for
that
my
was
investigation.
investigation, all right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And then what's the next one?
Perception.
22.
22. All right. Yeah, you've tracked this thing very carefully. You know exactly where it is, but now you need to try to grab it with one hand, which is going to be athletics at disadvantage.
Can
My
I
minus one.
can I interject for a second?
Well,
Seeing as we are cats,
mhm.
can we use the aid of our tails and roll with advantage, canceling out the disadvantage?
I don't think a cat's tail is. It's not like prehensile. You couldn't grab something with it.
Okay, I'm just okay.
I am
No.
open to the argument, even though I'm saying no.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So that sucks because it was a natural 20 and a 17. So 16.
Okay, well that's still good. You grab it.
Nice.
You are successful. And we'll also proceed. Alaric.
All right. Yeah, well, is it my right arm that they found?
It's whichever you
Yeah,
would.
right arm. So this is basically back to where I was,
Yeah, I
months
think
ago.
there's maybe a little bit of PTSD stuff going on there.
familiar here. Investigation. That is a 15.
15, yeah. You are tracking one.
Perception. 21.
21. You know where it is. Now grab it.
And athletics. 28.
Is that with disadvantage?
Oh, sorry. Much lower. 13.
Okay, 13. Yeah, it's very squirmy and it wriggles out of your hand, but not before you have managed to get hold of it enough that it appears, and that counts. So it's so you are successful. You caught one, even if it immediately got away.
DM is generous on this Christmas Eve.
Well, the rules are that you must achieve 2 out of 3 successes, meaning the target DC. So you got 2 out of 3. So you can't. That counts.
That ain't bad.
Nope. Next is Ket.
Okay.
I should have had NPCs with higher stats because they're all going to be eliminated while all of you are still in it.
All right. Investigation is a 22.
Yeah.
Perception is a 23.
All right.
And my athletics, let's look at that. That is a 11, 12, that's a 14.
14.
Yes.
So similar to Alaric, it wriggles out of your grasp almost immediately, but you did catch it, and that counts. You will also proceed to round 3.
Thank you.
All right. Next is Amethyst.
So, that's a dirty 20
All right.
for the first one. And then the second one was perception, correct?
Yes.
So that's a 21.
Mm-hmm.
And then the third one was a disadvantage. 2.
Okay. So yeah, I kind of knew on this one is like almost everyone in the party is pretty good with those first 2 skills and bad with the last one. But yes, so you got, so mechanically, yes, you were successful, even though I think with the 2 on that last one, that was basically like you get a hold of it and it appears, but then as it like clambers out of your grasp, it like steps on your face and you kind of fall over on your butt as it jumps away
That's
from you.
fair.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Nira.
All right. So I retconned my my animal or my last check there because I forgot to roll with disadvantage, but I still got a 13. I got a 13 instead of a 14. So.
Okay, well that's the
Whatever.
same result.
All right.
Being honest.
No, I appreciate it.
Okay.
The first one is investigation or survival, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Weirdly enough, my survival is higher, so.
Well, it's your wisdom. It's a wisdom stat.
Right. Let's see. That's 12.
12.
Great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're seeing a bunch, like, there's been so many of them running around at this point that it's hard to track the footprints now.
Yeah.
But you kind of starting to get a general sense of where one might be.
All right. And then a 22 for
All
perception.
right. Yeah, you found one.
And then the last one is athletics, right?
Athletics at disadvantage.
Yeah. Okay. So it's 16 or 17. So 16.
Yeah. Yeah, you get it.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, all of you are going to progress, although it was a little bit closer that time.
That first one didn't go well.
All right, so
I
we've
just cheer
got.
you on and be like, yes, queen, yes.
So it's the bard now is first rolling his. Those are both the same. That's a 13. So he's having a hard time sort of picking up the trail. And now he's a little better with perception, though. He's just going to try to find one. But oh no, that's just a 10. That is not enough. He's basically going to just be making a desperate grab, hoping to get one. And I think that the way I'm going to rule this is, he blows it completely. He takes a long time trying to find one. He is just listening for one, but he can't seem to find one. And finally, he makes like a mad dash, and you hear a bunch of them scatter away from him as he face plants on the stage, and they skitter away. And unfortunately, our human friend, has been eliminated from the competition.
Oh, I wish you better luck next time. Ha ha ha.
He gives you the finger as he leaves the stage.
Give that back. You shouldn't hold on to that.
All right, and then last but not least, we've got our friend the satyr. And he is going to make his investigation or survival. It's going to be this one. 17 for his investigation. And then perception, 18. Yeah, so he's going to still be in it. But then grabbing it, he also has a pretty embarrassing grab. But he did enough tracking one down that he tags it and it appears and he gets credit. So he will also be proceeding to round 3. Da 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 da. And briefly, these 3 one-eyed creatures turn to the side and start talking like they're addressing a completely invisible audience. And they just start talking about how it's been a very exciting competition so far. Yes, don't you think? I think so. I mean, it's a little sad that our original contestants have been eliminated so thoroughly, but the satyr is doing really well. I think our newcomers are having a great time, and it's been just this fantastic competition. And they look, like I said, like they're talking to someone who isn't there. It's like, and we all have to just remember that we are being brought to everyone right now through the generous sponsorship of Oak Trees. Yes, thanks, Oak Trees. We like the acorns. We like the shade. It's all good. Oak Trees. All right,
Oak
let's
trees.
now.
Don't leave the forest without them.
I don't know if y'all watch Seinfeld.
We have
but it
branches everywhere.
It reminds me of that episode where Kramer's has the Merv Griffin set up in his living room.
And so now it's time for round 3. Are you all excited? How are you? So I think all of a sudden one of them just runs up and clambers up onto the stage and is holding like a stick at you, Otterkey, and it just says, Otterkey, how are you feeling about the competition so far?
Pretty good. It's interesting. It's fun. It's a nice distraction.
Yes.
Competition, good.
Have you thought about what you might wish for if you win?
Ooh, there are so many things. It's going to be hard choosing. That's all I can say.
Well, anyone else have thoughts about what you might choose to wish for if you win? It's an important decision. You wouldn't want to make it hastily, of course.
Exactly. I just like to thank my queen for being here. I'd like to thank my mom and dad and my best friend Cadence and thank you all to everyone watching and thank you to our great sponsor Oak Tree.
While that's happening, the one is standing there holding the stick at you. One of them has stayed out in the audience position, and the third one creeps up like he's photobombing the camera shoot and starts going behind you.
I don't know what's going on, man.
They all clamber back down outside, out there, and it's time for round 3. So round 3, you must build this jigsaw puzzle tower. And you see now that there's this little table that appears, and it has just like briefly there's an illusion of what it looks like completed, but then it tumbles and is like, let's hope that the wind doesn't cause you difficulty. And all of a sudden, there's just this huge gust of wind that's just... And it's just like this vicious wind just howling around, and it's just constantly changing directions. And then they say, as before, the rules are no magic. And also... I'm sorry. There are other rules that I am taking a moment to retcon in my notes. The rules are that while participating in the competition, you must sing a song. And, of course, last but not least, the rule is that when you have completed the tower, you must perform a back handspring cartwheel. And
Sounds like you're just making stuff up now.
I actually want to, I was kind of actually doing some stuff in my notes, but I do actually want you all to sort of get the feeling that that last one really did feel like they just thought it up on the spot. Like that one feels like they're kind of hesitant and looking at each other and saying, yeah, the cartwheel thing. But first up this time is Autarky.
All
And so,
right.
what you need to do first is make a strength saving throw just to kind of get and stand by the little table with the puzzle while the wind is trying to blow you all over the place.
All right.
And they are all more difficult now, so they're getting pretty hard.
Natural 20. 29.
Very nice. Yeah, no problem. You're stomping out there in your plate armor, just boom, 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 boom. The wind is just, it's like ruffling your hair, but otherwise you're just not even moving. All right. Whoops. Dropping my marker. But now I need an investigation roll check to try to determine how this thing fits together. And a performance check, because you have to sing a song.
right.
Bonus credit in a meta sense if you try to actually sing.
I don't think I know any wind songs.
So actually, here's how we're gonna do this. You're gonna make a performance check, and depending on whether that's a success or not, you get advantage or disadvantage on the investigation.
All right. Gotcha. Okay. Performance.
But it's a higher DC for round 3 too. So
Performance 15.
okay, that's not good enough. So that means your investigation for the puzzle is at disadvantage.
12 and 18. So 12. Oh, wait. Do I have a negative? No. Even 12.
12. Yeah, you're having a really hard time figuring out how this thing's coming together. But now let's get a sleight of hand roll to try to actually assemble the pieces while shielding them from the gusts of wind.
Sleight of hand is a +1. 17.
17. You think you have it almost together, and then falls apart. I'm sorry, Autarky, but I'm afraid you are unable to complete the puzzle in the winds. And so we're having to say goodbye to you for this competition. But thank you for playing. And don't forget to pick up your parting gift as you leave the stage. And one of these 3 guys has come up to the side of the stage holding just like a basket full of acorns.
Ah, thank you. Go Oak.
Next is Cadence. So
All right.
this is first strength saving throw.
All right. A natural 1 +5.
Nice. Yeah, this wind is just blowing you all over the place. It's constantly changing direction. Your little cat feet are slipping on the stage.
Oh my god.
Having a hard time.
Yeah.
But go ahead and make your performance check for singing a song while you try to put the puzzle together.
All right. Ooh, nice. That's a 19 +1, so 20.
Right, so now you're going to make an investigation check with advantage.
All right. 17. No, 20, not natural. It was 14, and my investigation is +6.
So 20. What? And the first one was that the strength was low, right? It was like
Yes, it was like natural 1 plus 5.
okay,
So
yeah, all right,
6.
okay. So you're having a hard time with the wind still, but you feel like you've figured out how the puzzle works. Now, can you actually put it together? So that's going to be sleight of hand.
Okay. 23.
23. Okay, you managed to assemble the puzzle, but now it's time for the acrobatic finishing move. And that's going to be just acrobatics.
Acrobatics.
Mm-hmm.
14.
14. So with a 14, you are finding that the wind kind of blows you off balance a little bit, and they clap, and you are still progressing to the next round, but you are just feeling a little bit less graceful at the end of it. Okay. Next is no, sorry, I just wrote all of those in the wrong place. Those. So next is Alaric.
Oh boy. All
So
right.
strength saving throw first. Dealing with the wind.
The wind. 17.
17. You're relatively stable, but it's still giving you a hard time. It's not a success.
Okay.
All right. Investigation, or so performance first to see how well your song influences the whole thing.
Okay. This is one I learned in masonry school. You take a brick from the bottom and you put it on top. I take a brick from the bottom and I put it on top. Doesn't help much, but that would be performance, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, that's an 8.
Okay, yeah, unfortunately that's going to give you disadvantage on your puzzle. The Nothics are not fans of your song, unfortunately.
Yeah, it wasn't a very good class anyway. What was the thing? It's a
Investigation.
investigation. Oh,
Yeah.
Well, better than I thought. 15.
15. Yeah, you're not sure you really have it all figured out, but you got to start trying to put it together. So let's get sleight of hand.
Sleight of hand. 10. Yeah.
And it topples under your temporarily clumsy fingers. And I'm sorry, Hilaric, but that was a tough competition. You know, we put all sorts of wind on there. It was really kind of a pain in the butt, you know. But you're such a good sport. Thanks for playing.
Yeah, stuff it.
And then they start to say, it's like, and don't forget to pick up your. And then one of the others whispers to him, is like, oh, we only have the what? Really? Well, that's not really very fair. Like, only one person gets the. We're supposed to split them up. Well, can't do that now. You get a coupon for a basket of acorns, thanks to our sponsor, Oak Trees. Thank you, everybody. But yes. So next is Ket. Strength saving throw first.
I think at this point, Kat just kind of looks down at the ground and just kind of kicks the dirt and just says, I'm going to have to excuse myself from the competition at this point. It's been fun playing with you all, but I can't sing.
Wow.
Neither can I.
Well,
No, I mean I can't sing.
They
I've lost my singing voice. It was taken from me.
They kind of they sort of whisper amongst themselves for a moment, and they just say, well, you know, we would love to make an exception for you here, Ket, but it is clearly stated in the rules that one must sing during the puzzle completion, and so if you are unable to sing, then I'm afraid you must withdraw.
I understand.
The rules are the rules. You know, we would love to make an exception, but you know, we didn't make the rules.
If I was to win, I would say that my wish would be to have my singing voice back, but I cannot win, so.
Yeah. If it were such a thing as to allow you to have the winning wish first so that you could continue on. That would be like a paradox, but unfortunately, it can't allow a paradox to happen.
Well, thank you. I will pick up my coupon on my way back to the stands.
No, I'm sorry if you forfeit, you don't get a coupon.
What? I don't get a coupon?
Nope.
This is bullshit! I stomp away.
Hey, Cat, you can have my coupon. Not much, but it's all I got.
All of a sudden, one of them
have
runs
my
over
acorn.
to you and points to a tiny little bit of print on the coupon that says, not transferable to contestants who have forfeited.
Hey, Otterkey, I'll trade you a
Yeah.
coupon for the acorns.
Sure. Probably
Here,
like
have some acorns, Cat.
Thanks, Alaric. You're a true friend.
All right.
Feel bad for you.
We have a few more contestants left still in the competition here in round 3, so let's hear from Amethyst. So, strength saving throw first.
Straight saving throw
Strength.
is a 2.
Okay. Yeah, having a hard time with the wind. It's gusting all over. It's not
Yeah.
helping you out.
No.
But try and first your performance to try to sing a little puzzle building song.
15.
15. Yeah, that 15 is a nice song under normal circumstances, but you don't feel like it's helping you in this circumstance, so you need to make your investigation check with disadvantage.
Oh. 8.
Yeah. This puzzle's really complicated.
It's hard.
Yeah. Okay, so now let's try sleight of hand. If you just try to see if you can make those pieces fit together.
21.
21, yeah. So you definitely make it get assembled. Like you weren't sure how you had to do it, just kind of brute forcing, try to get the pieces together. But you do get them together, and now it's time for your finishing handspring cartwheel. So that's acrobatics.
Oh. 9.
Yeah, unfortunately, the wind catches you mid-air and just sends you kind of tumbling. And unfortunately, Amethyst, we do need to eliminate you. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. But thanks for being such a good sport competitor. We've been glad to have you. And, of course, thanks for playing. And you get your own coupon.
I also think your rules are bullshit, and I tear the coupon in half and throw it on the side.
They gasp and immediately start whispering amongst themselves. "Oh,
It's not his
Okay,
fault he
okay,
can't
good.
sing. You're
Oh,
holding
good.
a penalty against him that he has no power against.
Well,
As if he's disabled.
that doesn't. This is a competition, though. We can't just make it change the rules. Just it wouldn't be fair to the other competitors if we changed the rules in the
not.
middle of the game. So, and
Sure.
the rules are. I think in retrospect, if you had not torn up your coupon, we would have had to. Well, this is highly irregular, and they're just very
Ableist.
offended about this. Well, let's keep going with this competition. So, Nira, you're next.
I'm going to get some fun.
Okay. Let's see. First is a strength saving throw.
Yes.
Okay, it's a 16.
16. Yeah, you're doing okay, but the wind is still bothering you. It's not really a success.
All right.
Yeah. So
Can't you just fly?
And now which
performance
one?
first as you try to sing to ease your puzzle building.
Y'all actually want me to sing?
If
Pick
you
the
like,
song.
yeah. Then I encourage you to do so.
Alright, hold on. Let me see forgot what my thing was. +3. So that is a 15.
15. Yeah, so you're going to have disadvantage on your investigation to solve the puzzle.
Okay, let's see.
The stakes get higher in round 3. It's tougher.
You said disadvantage?
Yeah.
And that's a... keep losing it. 12 and... a 14.
No, you're
No.
you're not really seeing the pattern of this puzzle, but maybe you can get the pieces all together. So, sleight of hand.
That did not go any better. It's only +2, so 9.
9. Yeah, it also falls apart in your hands. So at this point, you don't have to try to do the handspring because you are already out. And they say, thank you, Nira, for playing, and I hope that recognizing the poor sportsmanship of some of the previous contestants, you will set a better example for all of the young people out there who might be watching this and dreaming of someday winning a wish of their own.
I will cast Gust of Wind and blow whatever is on the stage off.
You cast that,
Already out.
and they immediately just like, you broke the rules! No magic! That's unacceptable! And they're just furious. They're yelling at each other like they can't believe that the audacity of someone would just do this. And they one of them comes up, and so one of them was standing there about to hand you the coupon, and one of the other ones comes up and takes it away from him and tears it up. And
I will take the wind and blow the pieces up into the sky, and then I am going to fly up and back into the audience.
All right. And so at this point, there's only the satyr who hasn't gone yet, and only Cadence who has qualified for the next round. But they first briefly go to the satyr and just say, now, we don't want to psych you out here before the the competition continues, and so I apologize that we are putting you in this position, but, given the controversial exit of some of the previous contestants, I feel like it's important to discuss the feelings with the remaining contestants and try to get a sense of how they feel about the poor sportsmanship and rule breaking that's been on display here. And the satyr is just kind of like, well, I still want the wish, so I'm going to follow the rules. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That's what we want to see. Role models for our young people in the society who understand the importance of following the rules and always doing what you're told. Thank you, everyone. So, let's wish the satyr luck as he continues into the next round, or into round 3. So he's going to make his own rolls. Yeah, that's he's not doing well so far. It's a bad start. 9 for the strength saving throw. He's going to try to do his performance. He did pretty well there, though. That was a 19, which is going to give him advantage on the investigation, which is still not quite good enough. And so he's not off to a great start, but going to try that sleight of hand. And that is also, that is a success. Gets them together. And now, last but not least, he's going to try the acrobatics. But that is going to be a fail. He attempts the cartwheel, but then the wind blows him backwards, toppling his own tower, and is like, and he's been eliminated, which means there is only one contestant still in the running. And they go over to Cadence and just say, how are you feeling right now about the performance of your competitors? It seems that you're the only person still in the running. How are you feeling about that?
Feeling pretty good.
That's
I'm ready
wonderful.
to win some wishes.
Well, that's wonderful, and I think you will have the opportunity to do that right after round 4.
Okay.
And so, what are the rest of you doing?
Round 4 when there's only one person.
Do you ask that question? What are the rest of you
Yes,
doing
out
as
loud.
this is happening?
Yeah, how many rounds
Just
are
one
there?
person left. What the hell?
Well, in order to win the wish, someone has to complete all of the rounds of competition.
And how
I
many
think you're
rounds
making
are
it
there?
up.
I think you're making it up as you go along. This game is rigged.
Well, I can't, here we are taking this incredible bounty of a wish spell and offering it to contestants, but we just simply wish to have it go to a worthy individual, and we have performed these tests in order to try to determine that someone is truly deserving of such an incredibly powerful spell. It's a reality-altering spell. We couldn't give it
man.
to just anybody, and
All I'm
you know.
saying is next time, make your coupons transferable.
And so all of you are just simply sour grapes, which just proves that you are not worthy of the wish in the first place, and you have been rightly eliminated from the competition. Now, Cadence of the Water, are you ready for round 4?
I am ready.
How many rounds are there?
Well, as many rounds as it takes.
Takes to what?
To prove that you're worthy of a wish spell, of course.
That's not
I think
usually
she's
how
pretty
it works.
worthy.
Well, after your behavior, leaving this competition, breaking the rules, I don't think that we would use your judgment to determine who is worthy and who is not.
Have you
I'm
ever
about to
given
break something else.
Have you ever given that a prize?
What? We have the one wish spell. We are eager to give it out as soon as we find someone who is worthy of it.
So no. Yeah.
I'm ready. Let's go to round 4, please.
Very well. Round 4. Cadence is standing up on stage, and all of a sudden, the backdrop, or rather, she starts looking like she is shrinking, and around her, out of the stage, is growing an enormous labyrinth that fills the entire stage. And by the time she has finished shrinking and it is finished growing, it is clearly a labyrinth that is, like a quarter mile on a side in a square. That she is now inside there. And you see a bunch of little wispy dots of light floating down out of the sky, down into it. And all of you are suddenly seeing on the back of a mirror lowers into place, and suddenly you're seeing it like a scried image of her. And Cadence, you're now standing there in this labyrinth in front of a little table with a jar on it. The jar has a little skull and crossbones on it, and it says, "All right, Cadence, in this round, you must complete the maze, but you must also avoid the will-o'-the-wisps, and first, you must drink this poison."
I don't think I'm gonna drink any poison. I mean, maybe. I don't know. I have to think about it for a minute.
I assure you that the poison is non-lethal. It will simply dull your senses and abilities. But if you are truly worthy of a wish, then you can complete all of this even poisoned.
So that's alcohol.
Yeah, okay. I'll drink the poison.
Okay.
Moonshine.
You drink this
Rocket.
little vial, and it kind of burns going down, and you pretty immediately start feeling like dizzy and like your stomach hurts, and you're not feeling good. Mechanically, you are poisoned, which means disability on everything, basically.
Okay.
All right. Now the rules. Now you have also completed, the initial stage, but also, once again, no magic, no attacking the wisps, and no help from your rule-breaking friends.
I didn't break any rules.
Well, no help from your forfeiting or eliminated friends either.
Okay.
You better not be in
Avoid the
any real
wisps.
danger,
All right.
or you'll see what rule breaking looks like.
Yeah. So you begin just trying to navigate the maze?
Yeah.
All right. Let's get a survival check with disadvantage.
Okay. That is survival 16.
Okay. You are finding a lot of dead ends, and at this point, a lot of these little floating motes of light start coming in. And let's see. Hang on. I need to get the stats up. and several of these little floating lights come down and attempt to zap you with little electrical shocks. There's going to be 3 of them attacking this turn. There's 2 of them that one gets a 14, one gets a 6, but then there's a crit.
Okay.
So the crit does 23 lightning damage. Zap! As it strikes you, and so now you are, still trying to navigate the maze.
Survival again.
Disadvantage.
Okay. So that is 13.
13. Okay, yeah. You reach a point where this you've reached this like central sort of intersection, but then a little bit later you reach another one and you realize you're not actually even sure if you've come back to the same intersection or another one that just looks like it. And the rest of you are all watching this on the scrying, and you're watching her just like lost in this labyrinth. And then more of these things are coming after you.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's going to be a 12 and a 15 and another crit. So the 15, does that hit?
No.
Okay, so, but the crit does 11 plus 19 lightning damage. And with the poison, you have now developed a level of exhaustion as well, which technically doesn't have any additional mechanical effect other than the poison, except that it's cumulative.
Okay.
So I think all of the rest of you are watching Cadence try to navigate this maze, and these 3 one-eyed creatures, which I'll just go ahead and tell you that they're Nothics. Not that that necessarily matters, but so I can just stop saying one-eyed creatures. They are keeping up like color commentary of this whole thing and getting into, it's like, oh yes, and she has found that intersection once again, and it is a common misconception with people trying to run an unfamiliar maze that you can always just follow one corner going around to the right always, but that's not true, because if there's an island in the labyrinth,
My God, stop this madness!
So they're not listening to you.
Oh my God.
But you're watching on this little mirror that Cadence is having a hard time and isn't looking good.
Oh my God, my Cadence. You can do it, baby!
All right. Survival again. Disadvantage.
Oh, nice. That is an 18.
Okay. That was with disadvantage?
Yeah, I rolled a 15 and
Okay.
an 18.
You find when you start realizing you're starting to get a sense of the pattern of this place, you recognizing some spots, you're picking up on some of the really subtle nuances of it, but then as you're crossing this little intersection again, you realize that the floor starts shifting under your feet and the walls suddenly move around.
Okay.
And you're getting attacked again by more of these things again. All right, that's an 18.
That hits.
The other 2 miss. It's not a crit at least, but and that's another 8 lightning damage. And now you have 2 levels of exhaustion.
Man, can somebody cast fly on her?
So-
She's not using magic.
Yeah. So
Crazy.
there's now I think 2 levels of exhaustion. You move half speed, I believe.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. So I think the rest of you are watching, and because your characters are there and you're watching this happen from outside, you're realizing this is not fair. It would require inhuman levels of navigation or familiarity with the maze. Like, they changed the maze when she started to do well. but they're just keeping up this running commentary, and it's like, oh, she's having a hard time. The poison is having its effect. The longer it goes on, it's going to make her tired. That she's got to solve this maze fast.
Anybody want to help me do something about this?
I do.
I think it's going to be a bad case for her anyway, so might as well not have her suffer in the meantime.
This whole damn thing is rigged.
Yep.
And she's hurt.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
want to see that.
she's
happen
not
anymore.
looking good. Yeah.
Oh, you guys see those storm clouds rolling in?
Oh
I
man, look at
feel
that.
Can we get into the maze?
She shrank down to fit in it. It would be too small for you to
No.
fit inside.
But I can stride across it. How big is it then?
Well, so from your scale, it's about 20 feet square.
Huh. Well, those moats shouldn't be that big then.
No man, we could just go in and scoop her out.
I would like to start climbing the wall.
Okay. They immediately say, "Oh, she has unfortunately stumbled upon one of the secret rules that says you're not allowed to climb the walls. Now, she'll be forgiven this infraction as long as she does not continue to climb the walls."
I continue climbing the walls.
I punched the commentator in the face.
All right, make an attack roll.
You son of a. That's I guess just an unarmed strike. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna use my claws. So it's a 16 plus 6.
That hits.
Okay. Oh my god, the D4. I'm gonna punch this guy so hard in the face. Where's my D4? Oh my god, there's one. Okay. Oh, that's a roll to 4. That's a 4.
All right. So is it just the D4? Just the 4?
Yeah, it's just
Okay.
the 4. Just the
All
4.
right. Yeah.
With my claws.
So he is knocked back, the eye suddenly just blinking in horror, and just looks at you and just says, "Ah!" and just immediately starts to leap upon you. But now we're basically rolling initiative proper.
I'm wondering if you had a running bet how long it was going to take before we
19 for me.
I got a 20.
Okay.
These motherfuckers are going down.
All right.
10 for Amethyst.
Okay. 10. Nero was 19.
Yes.
Otterkey.
9.
Okay. Okay. I got Nira. Cadence.
20.
20.
I got a 27.
Ooh.
I rolled a natural 20 plus 7, so.
Okay. And then I don't have Alaric.
23.
23.
It's going to be impressive, but he always outdoes me.
Okay. Let's see. I think that's everybody. Okay. So, Ket, you are up first, and I think that he is so taken aback by this sudden assault that you actually get to go again.
Are the three of them sort of like clustered together, or was this guy just by himself?
They were all kind of sitting next to each other.
Okay, I'm going to cast Cone of Cold. And
Okay.
try to hit them all.
Yeah. All right.
It's a Constitution saving throw.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's see. That's a 19,
That saves.
a 15,
That fails.
and an 8.
Okay, so the last two fail. First one saves. Fails are 34, and the save is a whatever half of 34, so
17.
17. Yeah.
17. Okay. Let's see. I'm going to say that the guy you punched is one of the failures.
Okay.
Yeah. So he looks really bad after that. And then, yeah. So the two that failed look very like they're clearly shivering and they're frost covering them. The one that took less obviously doesn't look as bad, but certainly you've done some significant damage to them, and they look shocked by this sudden turn of events. How could they have predicted that violence would break out in what was supposed to be a friendly competition where they were out of their own goodwill giving out the opportunity for a wish? But that makes it Alaric, your turn next.
Yeah. Do I really want to do really mean things to them? Thinking about it. Bonus action, I summon the axe.
Okay.
And I'm going to whip it once at each of them.
All right.
Let's see how this goes. Where is it here? Hello, axe. It's been a while. Let me ask you a question. 29 for the first one.
Hits.
Does 10 points of damage.
All right. He's not dead, but he is barely there. He's barely hanging in there.
Second one. It's only 16.
Still hits.
For 11 points. Wait, how much did I do in the first one?
You said you did 10.
Okay, yeah, that's right. 11
Right.
points for the second one.
That one is decapitated.
And 26 for the third hit.
26 definitely hits, yeah.
And 14 points of damage.
Okay. Yeah, he is also significantly wounded, but not down.
All right, I'm going to action surge
Okay.
and do it all again. This time, two in the. Well, we go one, and then if it's not down, I'll go a second one.
All right.
First is an 18 to hit.
Yeah, hits.
For.
He only
13
had one
points.
hit point, so,
Okay, 13 points does it.
Mark
Second
ain't saving
one.
nothing for any of us.
Nope. That's a 28 to hit.
Yeah.
It's only 9 points of damage.
Okay, he's still up.
And then the third hit is a 23
Yeah.
for 10 points of damage.
How do you want to do this?
I want him to kind of freeze frame as the axe is flying towards him, and he's got the little microphone up towards his hand, and he just cuts right through the microphone, right through his throat. And that is how the game ends.
Yeah, his big head, dominated primarily by this gigantic green eyeball, just flops. Boop, boop, boop. And
Now, how do we get her out of there?
yeah, the maze is still there. Cadence is still down in it. So, speaking of Cadence, down still in that maze, you're still 2 levels of exhaustion poisoned, trying to find your way out of the maze. I don't think you have any idea that that's happening.
I cast haste on myself.
All right. So you had already kind of decided that you were defying,
Yeah.
right? So you cast
Yep.
haste on yourself.
So now I can actually move my speed, and I'm going to use my second action to climb up the wall.
Okay. Yeah, you're able to do so without difficulty, but you're still tiny. I think by
Yeah.
the scale of everyone else, you're only about maybe 3 inches tall.
Can I see what's going on now that I'm on the top?
Make a perception check because I think the perspective would be very strange.
He's tightened.
That is perception. 17.
Okay. I think you get the sense at least that there's fighting out there, even though you can't necessarily see everything that's happening.
Okay. I'm just all like, "Be good, stop where you are."
Yeah. The will-o'-the-wisps do follow you up and continue to attack you.
Okay.
That's two of them got natural ones, and then a 14.
Nope.
So they're not able to keep up with you for this round, at least.
I flipped them off.
If a tiny floating mote of ghost light could be offended, you think you got the job done. So Nira, that's your turn.
I am going to run up to the maze and try to scoop up Cadence.
Okay. I think you are able to do that without difficulty, but she is still only 3 inches tall.
Right, but I'm taking her away from the attacking things.
One
Is the
problem at a
idea.
time.
Okay. Oh yeah. Okay. Sure.
Yeah.
Try
so-
to, prevent them from continuing to attack her.
Exactly. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So, removing her from the maze.
All right. Any additional action or anything?
I don't. I think that counts as my action, and I don't have any.
Yeah. I think if you don't have a bonus action you want to do.
No.
Honestly, I think that you're going to be able to protect her from the moats that way, so there's not really any point in us staying in initiative.
Okay.
But she is
Well,
still
in that
tiny, and the maze
case-
is still there, and everything's still going on the stage.
I mean, what are they going to do? Shock you?
I'm gonna back away from the maze then. Still, like, cadence in one hand, my other hand outstretched, and I'm gonna cast Shatter on the maze.
Okay. I guess go ahead and roll the damage for it.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, it doesn't,
Yeah.
doesn't make a saving throw.
Yeah, that is 15.
15. Yeah, so there is a sort of shockwave emanating out from the center of it, and you see that there's sort of a circular crater made in the center of it, but most of it is still there. Doesn't seem to have any effect on Cadence.
All right. Well, she's still poisoned, so I guess Lesser Restoration is going to take care of that.
Okay.
I've used up all of my second level spell points now.
All right. So yes, Lesser Restoration does cure the poison effect. You do still have 2 levels of exhaustion, but no longer poisoned, and you get the sense that you're not going to get any worse.
Okay.
So, so we're not in initiative anymore. So, what are the rest of you guys doing?
I'm gonna heal her for 70 points. 70 points for Cadence heal. I saw she took damage. Blindness, deafness, diseases. It doesn't say anything about exhaustion.
That's Greater Restoration, and I can do that. But
Yeah.
Well, no, heal gets 70 hit points, and it
Yeah.
also ends blindness, deafness, and
oh,
diseases.
wish I would have known that. I would
Oh,
have done
well,
that instead.
beautiful.
It's fine. You guys got it worked out.
I'm going to go on top of the maze and see if I can figure if there even was a way out.
Well, part of it would be a little bit hard to know for sure because part of it's, leveled now. So, would there have been a way there? But yeah, I mean, if you want to just try to make an intelligence check, investigation to try to see if you can see, would there have been a way out? It's obviously much easier to do from above and not in it. Yeah.
That is a 7, so I can't see it. The part that was
Hard
probably
to know.
destroyed is where it would have been.
It's a complicated maze even from above.
Maybe we could ask one of the. Oh wait, no, never mind. Oh wait, no.
Alright.
Liars.
Can anybody speak with dead?
Yes.
I don't.
Although I don't know if I
Have
have
it
to use
equipped,
the. I don't know if I have to kill
Isn't
them
that
with
for
that.
that?
Didn't you have to kill them and talk to them within so many a minute after killing them with the
I
axe? or
think
whatever?
that dagger, the stab first questions later dagger, I'm pretty sure you have to kill with the dagger.
I don't know if we have an official description. All I have here is if you kill something, get free speak with the dead. So I think
I'll
that's
allow
just-
that if I didn't write that it has to be with that dagger. I mean, I think that's what I was originally thinking, but I think it's fair to say that it just you can cast once per day.
All right,
Are there
well,
any you didn't behead?
I think one of them. Yeah, I think there was one of them that didn't get beheaded.
Am I still really tiny?
Yep.
I'm just sitting there in near his hand, all "Hey, sweet everything."
Baby
Okay, I'm gonna try to find. I'm gonna try to find the end of the maze and see if maybe there was some kind of trigger that would have,
Okay. Make an investigation check.
If anybody want, I'm gonna boot myself with guidance first. Let's see. 16 plus 1, so 17.
Nothing you can see, nothing you can find. Anyone who has proficiency can make an Arcana check.
Oh,
22. 22.
So Kat, you are pretty sure that dispel magic would take care of this. But other things that might have an effect would just be, greater restoration would do it, maybe. Like you
I
would have
cast
to make a
Dispel
check.
Magic.
Okay, but dispel magic, yeah.
Yeah, I cast Dispel
Can I
Magic.
set her down first?
Yes.
Oh,
No. I cast Dispel Magic.
Too
while she's
late.
in-
Absolutely.
Yeah. You guys can decide how that played out, but
No,
yeah.
I just cast Dispel Magic while she's sitting in the hand of Mirikina.
Yeah. So I think you're all actually taken off guard because, in addition to Cadence immediately returning to her normal size, everything in the clearing disappears. Stage is gone. The lights are gone. The seats are gone. And it's not even a clearing anymore. You're just in amongst trees.
Now we
Cool.
can
Buried
dispel
under
that
cat
word.
person.
That was
There are still
Okay.
3 dead Nothics.
Oh, okay.
Lying liars.
Find out where my wish is.
Loot the bodies.
They don't even have clothes. They don't have they don't seem to have anything. One of them still has the stick they were using as a microphone.
I hit him with a stick.
Half a stick. It got beheaded with it.
Oh, that's right.
I play golf with the head.
I'm gonna stab the one that still has a head.
Oh my gosh.
Is there anything?
With stab first, ask questions later. I got some questions.
Okay, so you were invoking the
Yeah.
speak with dead
Yes,
quality?
The only time I've ever been able to use it.
Yeah. So, is it one of the ones that's beheaded or? Or no?
No, it's the one that still has his head.
Okay. So the body does not move, but as you feel the spell discharge, and there is a little bit of a whispering sound, and then even though the rest of the body stays completely limp, all of a sudden that enormous green staring eye, and it's looking at you.
You miserable little cretin.
That's not a question.
I know. Isn't it
It doesn't
clever?
say that.
Was this all a trick to waylay us?
We did have a wish, but only for those who were worthy.
You kept changing the rules. You were never intending to let anybody have that wish, were you?
If someone what proved they were worthy.
I look around at the rest. I have questions, but do you? I still have a couple more, I think.
I think you get 5.
Yeah.
What is his definition of worthy? Like,
Right?
I think he would just say it's to do with all the trials.
We know it when we see it.
Yeah. I know a lot of things when I see them, and right now I'm seeing a few dead fools.
You won't be seeing anything anymore.
Who gave you this power?
Grandmother Praxis.
I should have known.
well, congratulations. You are now the 3 deaths and the 3 eyes.
I don't suppose we can make them breathe a little bit.
You have one more question.
What did she want us to get out of this?
I don't know. And then the eye rolls back again.
And pull the blade out and clean it off on the body. Well, it was not a coincidence, which is not a surprise either, but
No.
I wonder if she actually thought we might get that wish.
Probably not.
But was this the 3 eyes of the 3 deaths, or did we just mark off 2 things?
Looks like a twofer.
Could be.
And what does that mean?
Means
The
you're
deaths
still
came
getting his
first.
Singing voice back.
Try to sing.
Have you tried?
I need that tea,
Yeah.
right?
There's no change.
Honey.
The hills are alive with the sound of not my music, mother.
But you can still rap. All right, that's not exactly singing.
My name is Get, and I'm here to say I can't sing a lick, so let's go away.
Do
I
we
wish
still
I
see
could
the
have got
road?
that wish.
I wish I'd gotten it. It's too tempting anyway. Magic like that is too dangerous.
For who?
Most of us. Maybe not you. Maybe you really were worthy and they just were afraid you'd actually win. I don't think anything could have survived that though. And they kept inventing rules whenever you were getting better.
Yeah.
Do we still see the road?
Yep. You're a little ways off of it now, though.
I need to take a nap. Man.
What about those other competitors? Are they still around?
I mean, they all left. They didn't stay in the clearing after they were eliminated.
If they were even real.
You know, if they weren't, then it's even more of a cruel joke. Maybe it was just a waypoint along the way. I don't know. Maybe we missed the 3 deaths, or maybe we were expecting, or she was expecting to find them dead. Maybe they were dead.
Maybe we sent those 3 people to their death.
How much we could have done about that.
I think we did all we could for them.
I thought about asking them to come with us, but I think it's more dangerous with than without.
Yeah. They would have been dead like right away.
They probably would have competed.
I'm sure it's not the first time we've sent people to their death.
No.
Doesn't make it right, but you know.
So is there anything else of note in this area?
Yeah.
Like any, I don't know, little tunnels or caves or holes in the ground or
Any
things hanging
pieces
from the
of
trees?
paper laying on the ground.
Portals?
Nope. Basically, if there hadn't been a magical clearing here moments ago, you would have assumed that this is just another part of the forest. It doesn't seem any different. Like the only sign of there having been anything before is these 3 big, one-eyed guys. Here, let me briefly just show a picture of what these guys looked like for anyone who might not. So,
Ew.
Oh, that's
Ooh,
creepy.
they're so cute.
yeah.
Mm.
Does Archie still have the basket of acorns?
CR2.
I think that disappeared too, and the coupons.
Yeah.
Not even.
Yeah.
Oh.
But yeah, so as as you guys are preparing to, what are you thinking you're gonna make camp again, or just keep on moving?
We should be wary. All of that might have been just to grind us down for something else to attack.
Are you
I'm like
feeling okay,
tired.
Cadence?
I need to take like 2 naps.
I think given this circumstance, I think it'd be best if I cast a mansion tonight.
I'm gonna boot Cadence with greater restoration just to take off the edge.
All right. So that would bring you down, I think, to 1 level of exhaustion.
Lesser aspirin.
Less than aspirin.
Regular strength Tylenol.
All right. So perhaps if you're casting the mansion, and I think this is where we're going to bring tonight's episode for a close anyway. I was just trying to decide, like, are we bringing it to a close as you continue on, or casting the mansion, or however?
Okay, yeah, I'll cast the mansion.
All right. So as you make your way inside the by now familiar mansion, it is a relief from the dark forest. It's probably feels good to be back in the familiar again for a while at least. So that's where we're going to end tonight. But do we have anyone in the chat who has questions for the characters, where everyone can answer the question in character?
Apparently, we had someone who appreciated the puns. So
Yeah, that's good.
Yes. Prince Justin has a question.
no,
You want to know?
Well, we'll see. But
We are holding our collective breath.
yes, to all the PCs, when did you realize it was rigged?
At the beginning, there was
At the
no
very
way.
beginning, yeah.
Well, they wouldn't tell you
They're
the
just
truth.
going through the motions.
Yeah.
We knew.
Well, yeah, I think, if I were to answer on behalf of the Nothics, they would say, "What do you mean rigged? We have the right to decide what the rules are. It's our wish to give away."
Yeah.
Cadence did not want to think that didn't want to believe that it was rigged. Like she wanted to believe that there was a way to actually win it.
There was a brief amount of hope. I mean, there's also that thought, what could you do with a wish?
Yeah.
How many
Well,
of y'all
I-
had ideas about what you would do with it?
I did.
For
I
Archie,
did.
it wasn't until the fourth round with a single alone contestant not knowing. I mean, he said a number of things.
I mean, if Cat won, he definitely would have wished for his voice back. I was thinking about it through the entire thing. Like, if this was real and we did get a wish, I was like, wow, I could wish for, like something like the stolen moment or something to do with the overall plot line.
Mhm.
But I think for Cat, it would have been his voice to come back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what Cadence was going to wish for too.
Yeah.
I think it would have been a long time before Alara cashed in the wish, if you could wait that long. And I think it would have been the restoration of a certain mountain.
Mm-hmm.
He still feels pretty guilty about that after all.
All right, so
Either way, it was fun to think about for a minute.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
so that's so some
Because-
of what I was
yeah.
saying before we started in terms of like I wasn't sure if we would get to the thing I have a map for tonight or not. It's because I just like, for all I knew, you guys were gonna just like see the lights and say nope and just go right on by.
Yeah.
That was
Like I
close.
suggested.
I'm glad you didn't though, because that was fun.
That was
So
fun. Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So thanks everybody for listening and or watching, and I think we're planning to be back next week this time. So again on a Monday,
Yes.
just before New Year's Eve. So
Oh, I wanted to tell everybody, it's not my thing, it's Mark's thing. But he has been on his podcast, he wrote a Christmas story and has been putting out one chapter a day leading up to Christmas Eve.
Mm.
And I think the last one drops tomorrow. Is that right?
Yeah, I
Tonight?
miscalculated. The last one drops tonight, but I wrote an extra thing that's going to drop tomorrow.
okay, great. So
Awesome.
what's
Right.
the link for everybody to go and check that out?
There's a couple of ways you can go. This is part of a whole bunch of people are doing this called the Dog Days of Podcasting. So there's about 4 or 5 other people doing something. So you can go to dogdaysofpodcasting.com for everybody's links. My stuff is up at incaffeinated.ca.
Awesome.
It's a really
Nice.
cute story. You guys should all go listen to it.
Well, thank you.
Yay.
Yeah.
Anyone else have plugs you want to share? I mean, that's totally cool if you do.
Merry Christmas. Happy
Yay.
holidays.
Yes.
Merry
Yay.
Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Happy holidays, everyone.
Happy holidays.
Merry
And-
Christmas.
Yeah. And we can't do the see you next year joke yet because we'll actually be back just one more time before that happens. So,
Yeah.
but happy holidays, and we'll be back on Monday for more adventure on so many levels.
So many levels.
Zzz.